Crazy Bull. What's up, Candido? What's up, Bull? How y'all doing? Let's do it, man. Alright, so we're gonna go from where we left off yesterday. We're gonna talk about two things. We're gonna talk about vanguards and also something else. Something else that someone brought to my attention. So, we're gonna get into it. So first, since Bull is here, we're gonna talk about something a person by the name of Slow Plays. I don't know if anybody's heard of him, but he posted a video saying bad news for anime games. So, let's find out what the heck he's talking about.
Alright guys, it's finally time to talk about the state of anime games. So I got a lot to say. I got a lot to say about the whole anime game situation, the state of anime games in general in the current year of 2025. And when I say in general, I mean just over the past probably decade, okay, of anime games, the good, the bad, the ugly, right? And right now, we're experiencing the ugly with the latest release of Hunter x Hunter Nen Impact. Like, gotta be one of the saddest situations ever. So I posted this tweet a couple of days ago by the time I'm recording this, and at the time that I posted this, there were only 182 players in this game on Steam. Now, keep in mind, okay, when we're talking about all this, all right, and we're going over the records of the history of player bases and everything for these games, all right, and these are all just specifically anime games. This is all through Steam, and that does not reflect the entire fan base or player base across all.
And here's one of my issues. Is that most of the YouTubers who talk about this always bring up just Steam. Why not talk about every other aspect? Like, don't just act like anime games don't pop off the most on console. And if we're being honest, they pop off more on PlayStations. Group chat stuff, let me see. See, I just want to see, because here's the thing. There's been way too many Dragon Ball and Naruto fans saying what should happen to anime games. I want to see if he's only going to say, we need just more Dragon Ball games, or if he's going to talk about diversity. Because so far, they all ask for diversity. Even though we've been had diversity, they just don't play those games. We don't have the numbers for console. Yeah, we never have the numbers for console. We never do. We really never do. Oh, let me turn on my mic. Hello, Kitty. Welcome in.
All consoles. It never has, it never will. Unfortunately, okay, the unfortunate thing is, this is kind of our only way to gauge how many people are playing, unless like an official like statement or official records come out from like PlayStation or Xbox, you know, going over this is how many people are playing, or these are the top playing games right now, right? The most successful games that people are currently playing right now. Okay, they've done that before in the past, and
Okay, I saw the Borderlands trailer, Dark. Rafa is definitely going to be a good one. I think Marvel Rivals just hates support players, not gonna lie. I mean, after nerfing Ultron as hard as they did, I believe it. The Grounded 2 trailer, I did watch that. That does look good. If Steam players is that low, even if you multiply that player count by 10 is that true. Out of Time looks like it'll be interesting. And Sword Art Online Fractured Daydream. I'm glad the game is still doing good. Still getting DLC and stuff, so. Alright, peace. I would never think Rafa was gonna sound like that. I mean, that's Kagi Films. You know that, right? Yeah, that's Kagi. Bro, you are not. I am not gonna play the. If you're gonna throw me off the map, SAO tomorrow. I mean, I'm down. I'm down. The game's fun. Wait, I don't know who that is. Okay. He's. Jeez. Hold on a sec. Hold on a sec. I'm not going bald. Tank Bane stand up. Hey, I'm okay with it. Tank Bane's been getting abused this whole season. The whole last season, bro. And Dark, just so you know, Kagi, the voice actor playing as Rafa, is the same voice actor as Sinnoh from Genshin Impact. He also voices one of the DLC characters from Grand Blue Fantasy. Hank Baines deserves to suffer. Bro, you're just saying that so I suffer. Also, he voices a character in JoJo's. Right, I forgot he was Leon in Pokemon Journeys. Is Friday looking good still? So far so good, yes. As long as nothing else happens. Yes. Also, just in case, he also voices Charlotte. He's Charlotte in Dragon Ball Legends. Anton, yeah, that's another one. Okay, so this also happened. I personally believe that anime games thrive most when they focus on the single player content. When they cater to online multiplayer, the cracks begin to show. The Budokais, the Tenkaichis, and even the Ultimate Ninja and Storm games had fantastic single player experiences. Is all of this true? I don't know. I don't know about. I mean, Budokai Tenkaichi definitely had a fantastic single-player experience. The Storm games had a good experience with the cutscenes, but definitely anime games should focus on more single-player aspects. See, but I feel like there's anime games that actually thrive with being a multiplayer game. Like most anime games thrive being a multiplayer. Rivals should wait for this. Alright, let's see. Yo. I'll get that Punisher skin, bro. Wait, does he have a manhunt? It looks like he does. Hello, Ari. Welcome in. If an anime game is just PvP, then there's a problem. You can only play PvP so much. I mean, that's very true. I'm on my way home. I'm gonna nap in the car. Okay, enjoy your nap. Make sure you drink enough water. Now, let me know how y'all feel about this. I'm getting the Reed skin. I'm getting the Reed skin first. I gotta put up the set. We don't need Dragon Ball Dead by Daylight. We don't need My Hero Fortnite. We don't need Hunter x Hunter Marvel vs. Capcom 3. We don't need Dragon Ball League of Legends. Whoa. You're talking about Squadra. Hey, Pineapple, shut up. Dragon Ball Squadra is fine. Shut up. We don't need Death Note Among Us. Do people even play that? I don't... Applying an anime filter over existing games that already work does seem to be working too well. I mean, okay. Dragon Ball The Breakers. The thing is, I just feel like those devs just don't. They should just add everything in Breakers into Xenoverse. They should have just done that from the start. My Hero Ultra Rumble. It was good until like they started adding. The game just feels very crazy now. That all of these games he mentioned are middle projects made to make easy money at a cheap price besides Hunter x Hunter. That's facts. Yeah, Xenoverse is gonna outlive them. If we're being honest, Xenoverse been outliving most of these games. What's good, boss dude? Dragon Ball Breakers did what it was supposed to. My Hero Ultra Rumble has a fan base. I mean, hey, Ultra Rumble been going good though. They just added Sun Eater. I'm surprised no Mirio yet, but Hey, that just means slowly but surely. Dragon Ball Squadra is heat. That's facts. And Death Note was a free game that people still play. Okay, people still play it. Gotcha. How you doing, boss dude? What's good? And Shinobi Strikers? Okay, I don't know if Shinobi Strikers is gonna outlive it, just because it's literally only PvP. Mirio's already in the game. Oh yeah, I forgot he is. Does he have... I thought he was gonna get like a new costume or something. Alright, so this is something that Rhymestyle said. I don't know who needs to hear this, but Xenoverse 2 might be the best anime game of all time. It has content on content on content. Infinite ways to play, CACs, etc. Was it perfect? No. But there's a reason why almost 10 years later, it's still being played and updated. He's right. He's right. He's right. I'm good, man. How are you? I'm doing good. Doing good. Yeah. Now this is the part where I start to question what solo play is saying. Because here's the thing. The first part, I agreed with him until this next part. And let's see. Live service gotchas are just actually put better quality into them. Storm 4 and Fighters are examples of two fighting games that did neither of the first two, but were just so good that people played them for years. I don't know about Storm 4, because at the end of the day, with Storm 4, we also need to take in count how long it took to put all this stuff into Storm 4. Fighters, I mean, yeah, it's just a flat-out fighting game, like most Dragon Ball games. The game is not that good. I mean, yeah, they need to update other aspects of the game personally. Cause like at this point, if they don't drop a Xenoverse 3, which they would be stupid to not drop a Xenoverse 3 in the future, I feel like for sure add new races, new transformations. We gotta spice up the game a little bit. Because right now, Saiyans have all the transformations. PvP is horrendously horrible. But, again, there's multiple ways to play the game. So, like you see me, I just do TP Metal Cartel and it works. People like it. People got TP medals to put to other things. So it's like, okay, cool. When they could do what they've been doing, low effort updates that everyone eats up because they have an attachment to their CSC. That's facts. Wait, hold on. He talks about Pirate Warriors here? Oh my god. Let me find out. I know he's gonna say something. He's gonna talk trash about the game. I already know.
So I get it, but yeah, I can see it from views and everything on content. People were just not really fucking with it. I get it. I totally get it. I think it was great though. Yeah, Sparking Zero is the only anime game to get over 100,000 players at launch. That's crazy, dude. We're probably never going to see an anime game do these numbers at launch ever.
I mean, Yeah, we're probably never gonna see that ever again. People glaze Sparking Zero to death, literally.
Unless it's Dragon Ball. Honestly, maybe if they made Naruto
This man
Storm
Ball,
5 and it was like just Storm 4 but better, I think there is potential that it could probably maybe get up to that. Maybe. We'll see.
Did he say a Dragon Ball Storm? Storm 4? You don't realize how, oh god, a one button does all combos for Dragon Ball. The worst part is they would eat it up. It would probably outsell. It would probably outsell like a large amount of anime games if that happened.
But yeah, here's what I was talking about with a game that is very, very successful. And it's interesting. This is
Yeah.
also by Viking, okay? Which people
I mean,
have their opinions
Ultra Rumble did do good.
But it's because this is Fortnite. This is basically My Hero Academia Fortnite. Look at that.
Dragon Ball or Storm 4.
1,522
Oh,
players.
Storm 5.
I think that's got the most amount of players from any of the games that I've showed currently right now that are playing. It definitely does. Look at this. These are ranging from like 100 to less than like 900 players for the most part, with the exception of Kakarot's getting there. Yeah, that's crazy. The game to get over 100,000. If they made Naruto, it was like probably maybe get up, be very successful. And it's interesting. This is also by Viking, okay? Which people have their opinions on Viking, right? But it's because this is Fortnite. This is basically My Hero Academia Fortnite.
Something.
1,522 players. I think that's got the most amount of players from any of the games that I've showed currently right now that are playing. It definitely does. Look at this. These are ranging from
Not. Wait, hold on a second. Go back. No way people are playing Pirate Warriors. People are playing Pirate Warriors 4 over Rebirth of Souls? Really? People are really playing Pirate Warriors that much. Dragon Ball, Naruto, One Piece with very high quality marketing. I mean, if we're being honest, Dragon Ball has the best marketing when it comes to their games. Because Pirate Warriors 4 didn't even have that good of marketing. Need to see those Rafa outfits? Oh, definitely.
any of the games that I've showed currently right now that are playing. It definitely does. Look at this. These are ranging from like 100 to less than like 900 players for the most part, with the exception of
Whoa, hold on. How much was the all-time peak for Storm 4?
like 100 to less than like
Pirate Warriors 4 had more in its peak than Storm 4 on Steam? Really?
that I've showed currently right now that are playing. It definitely does. Look at this. These are ranging from like 100 to less than
What? And that's on Steam. In 14 months? Really? How did Pirate Warriors 4 have more at an all-time peak in 14 months? What? On Steam?
That's surprising.
Like 900 players for the most part, with the exception of Kakarot's getting there. Yeah, that's crazy. The all-time peak for this game was 46,000. I remember when I saw
Yeah,
this,
I
was
mean,
like,
people
this
like
game
people like Fortnite games.
is big. Like I did not expect My Hero Academia. I know My Hero Academia is a huge series, but for an anime game to get 46,000 people at launch is crazy. But again, it still suffers that same trend as Sparking Zero, for example, where it has a huge drop-off. Okay? They're all the same. Even Gekishin Squadra, it only had 12,000 players at launch, right? And the
Well,
game's
that's
not
good,
out yet.
though.
This is just a beta, so we're not going to really count that, but I threw it in there. That was pretty good for just like a beta, right? But yeah, you understand what I'm saying? The point I'm trying to get at, the reason I yapped for fucking 30 minutes, right? Is to show...
Oh my god. Looking at that though, how bad does the game need to be? Look, at that point, if you're gonna, you gotta update this game. Update it and come back. That's the only way, bro. You gotta update this game and come back with like heavy hitters. Because a lot of people, well, it wasn't like a lot of people were excited for Nen Impact. It's just we all thought it was gonna be low quality. Yeah, the game ain't out yet. On Steam refunded it. Yep. That's a crazy feat. I'm just more so surprised. Wait, let's see the comments. Alright, so first, a lot of anime games that have released in the past few years seem to have a horrendously bad launch with bugs, online issues, and even feeling unfinished. This isn't just a Bandai issue either. It is a Bandai issue. It is a Bandai issue. Let's don't get it twisted, Slow. This is a Bandai issue. As other publishers have similar issues. Right now, this part, I don't know about this, but right now the best models for an anime game are Xenoverse 2, My Hero Rumble, Storm 4, Kakarot, and Fighters. Notice how... See, I wish they would, like, give Pirate Warriors its respect, you know? Man, y'all are gonna say I'm glazing. And, you know, oh, it's Legacy being the Pirate Warriors guy. But if we're being honest, man, I don't care how many people hate a Warriors game. But you literally can't go wrong with it. We're not just gonna act like the entire Pirate Warriors series isn't one of the best-selling anime series for gaming. Pirate Warriors sold a lot. But yeah, Kakarot, Fighters, Xenoverse, all three of those did great. Storm 4 did great. My Hero Rumble, still doing great. But I'm putting Pirate Warriors 4. Even though it needs to be better, it needs better updates, it's still getting more content. It's just the game loop being so repetitive. And it's like, if it wasn't for the people complaining about the game loop, a good anime game needs a solid and polished foundation that has a larger focus on the more robust offline single-player content. That's facts. Stop excluding platforms. Give us hella single-player offerings. Unlockables out the ass. put the soul of the anime back into the game. He's right. Goofy animation, themed mini games. For some reason, they removed that from Pirate Warriors 3 and the old Pirate Warriors games. And it's like, come on. Bandai does not care about their fans. That's facts. They don't care. And I'm going to just say this, too. If CC2 really cared, they would try to make better netcode. They would try to make sure the next Storm game has everything that the old Storm games had. Why is it that Connections came out with half of the things that were in Storm 4? And people thought it was cool. Single player content, like they don't just play single. Yeah, that's the thing. A lot of these people who say single player content don't play single player games. And, like you said, if you're a YouTuber, you play it once, never touch it again. Most people will just play it once and that's it. So it's like they're just capping to themselves. They're really just capping to themselves. It's not cool. It's not cool. Like, be real. What you really want in these games. Xenoverse, Pirate Warrior. A game with no single player content can be fine if the game's good. Yeah. And you know what? No single player content? Prime Fighters before Bandai cucked our system? Bro. Prime Fighters was going crazy. Like, if we're being honest, Prime Fighters is what Sparking Zero was supposed to do to the entire gaming industry. Because this helped people who like fighting games, and it helped people who like Dragon Ball make content. Yo, the three idiots, bro, and their fighters videos, it's so entertaining. And then like Pharaoh, this one. Deadass met Gato Doya, a mainstream YouTuber. Yeah. It did. Now, this comment, put it into perspective. 2016, we got Xenoverse 2 and Storm 4. We will never see another year like this ever again. And that is still holding true to this day. And before people say, oh, but it kind of did because Sparking broke records and died. Oh, you got an update. I mean, that's great. Where are all those people who were saying this was going to feed generations? Just for it to feed like every other anime game and die. It's crazy. It's really crazy. Okay, tell me how y'all feel about this. The problem is, there are anime games that aren't fighting games, but people don't like those animes, so they don't support them. There's been a ton of anime manga series that got full RPGs. This is facts. Like, for example, Fairy Tail, Eden Zero, Konosuba, Danmachi, Sword Art Online, and many others. Or games like Attack on Titan 2. But people only stick to the same Shonen Jump series that always ends up as fighting games or arena fighters. How true is this? I'm saying he right. They only stick to the same animes. My Hero has a big fan base. Mainly because some of them are weirdos, others are, fans of the show. Ultra Rumble is probably the best My Hero game to come out. And it hurts. Because, it's a Fortnite game, but a lot of people like Fortnite. And Fortnite is even putting anime characters into it. So it's like, don't stop what works. Oh, no. Hold on. What is Justice sold great? One's Justice 2? The One's Justice series is definitely doing great. It's just, in the long run, people are going to play Ultra Rumble more than One's Justice, I feel. But I'm not just gonna act like One's Justice. The entire One's Justice series isn't good. It's good. It's just a good game. Okay. What in the world is this guy talking about? Oh, he's talking trash about Xenoverse 2 and glazing Sparking Zero. That's not true at all. You think people are going to play One's Justice more than... I don't know. Alright, let's look at this though. I might go back to fighters. I mean... Hey, do it. Honestly, there's a lot you can do in fighters. Well, I say a lot, but... just have fun. I don't know why people overrate Xenoverse 2 so much. It's good, I like it, but once you finish, there isn't much things to do either. Like almost any game. I mean, that's kind of true. Yeah, once you finish Xenoverse 2, it's like, you really just focus on your CAC. Keep making deals. Literally, fighters would go crazy. Bandai should let Arc System make more. In Steam, Sparking Zero had few more players than Xenoverse 2. I guess it's because Sparking Zero is new, but when both games are completed and there is nothing else to do than just fighting, Sparking Zero's combat is way better. Is this true? Sparking Zero's combat is extremely better than Xenoverse's. How will you feel about that? That's why it had more than 120k. People at launch, while Xenoverse 2 had less than 20k. And Xenoverse is based on Dragon Ball Online, which flopped for the stupid reason of having servers only in Korea, Hong Kong, and Taiwan. Dragon Ball Online was so much better. It took place 300 years after Dragon Ball Z. You played in the Dragon Ball world. Every race has its own abilities and was more balanced. As Saiyans weren't overpowered for having 10 transformations, I truly feel like having your own real character in Dragon Ball World. I hope it returns someday officially, I mean. Maybe Xenoverse 3. What is this guy talking about? It's a Budokai game. But it's like, I don't know about Sparking Zero's combat. Yeah, I don't know about Sparking Zero specifically, but if we're talking like Budokai Tenkaichi 3's combat, I can see. Sparking Zero, I don't know. Yo, Chibi, what's up? Now, I don't know what this guy is talking about. And also, Xenoverse had less than 20k people at launch, but those players are still there. I mean, yeah, it's not as consistent as other anime games, but people still play it. Like, trash it all you want, but you know, it shows. Literally, you can log on to Xenoverse and you'll see people playing. And also, this guy also said that, but when both games are fully completed and there's nothing else to do than just fighting, Sparking Zero's combat is way better. If Sparking Zero's combat is way better, why does that mean people will play Sparking Zero over Xenoverse? Like, what's the logic there? Because eventually, people will get sick of Sparking Zero's combat and just stop. Like, I can't tell you. That happened to me. The combat to me is just boring. And I know you're gonna say, oh, it's because you're not good. Honestly, yeah. Like, it's not really that enjoyable. Plus, you could be doing a combo and people just be spamming, what was it, the revenge counter? People just spam the revenge counter. And it's like, spamming the revenge counter is apparently like way better than just tapping it once. Just keep spamming it until it works. Yeah, with Xenoverse, yeah, you can grind your character out more, find your build, customize your character. Well, there's now the Festival of Universes. It doesn't come every time, but when it does, we get new clothes, new Super Souls to use, we get a reason to grind, we get more consistent DLCs than Sparking Zero. And here's the thing, and I'm gonna just be real with you, Commander Gabby, I'm gonna be real with you. Like, in the long run, Sparking Zero gets a DLC for Daima, and Xenoverse gets a DLC for Daima. Which one do you think people are gonna play more? Like, truthfully, if we just talk about just DLC. Also, how you doing, Chibi? I don't know if I said that, but great to see you. Yeah, parallel quests, unlocking all the moves, costumes. There's different DLC. I mean, you know what? Take away DLC. You can also grind out every single race as well, even though you'll have to restart the story, which they should put a skip button. Like, damn. And there's also a photo mode, and they also do photo mode contests. Like, we can't just act like Sparking Zero is good just because of combat.
See, here's the thing, Bull. They're gonna get on the Sparking DLC, and I'm gonna be real, like, in the long run, people are gonna play Xenoverse more. Because, okay, we get new moves. Probably a new costume depending on the characters. We get new parallel quests. We have a little bit more to do with Sparking. You try out these characters, go online. Potentially, it's a 50-50 if you deal with somebody with good or bad net code. Well, good or bad on internet. And I don't know. I just think... I don't know about you, but if it was me, I'm not playing Sparking. I'm not playing Sparking. But let's see what these people have to say. Oh God. I forgot about the story. I forgot how bad that story mode was.
Getting access to, the cloaca of a free swimming shark, really tough. But if we can, the outcome is really exciting. Yeah, fine.
Charlie and John will be diving 45 feet below, hoping to get near the rear of a deadly great white. Adding to the challenge, the weather turns for the worse, creating
Oh God. He's saying more. Bro, Sparking got more of that without DLC. Sparking Zero was hyped because no other game had a combat system as good as the Budokai Tenkaichi series. Raging Blast is essentially Budokai Tenkaichi with another name. I get Xenoverse 2 is better than Kakarot and Fighters. No. You're getting it twisted. First off, the reason people play Xenoverse is because they have a reason to play Xenoverse. Kakarot and Fighters. First off, DBZ Kakarot is like one of the best Dragon Ball games. And we not gonna act like it ain't. Saying Xenoverse 2 is better than... Shut up. Kakarot cutscenes? Kakarot fights? What? Come on.
another shark to expand their data set. 3 subadult sharks circle the cage.
Okay, you keep talking about the combat system of Sparking Zero. Are you saying this... Oh, hold on. Is he saying the combat system of Sparking Zero is better than Fighters? Oh my God. Z's story perfectly fine, and Xenoverse 2 has better combat? Wait, hold on. No. Why did you just switch from... And Xenoverse 2 has better combat than Kakarot and its own story? What? What is this guy talking about? Fighters has a very complicated combat system and also its own story. Of course it has a complicated combat system. It's a traditional fighting game. It's fun to have your own character in Dragon Ball, but Dragon Ball Online did a better job in that, and it had probably the best original story in an anime game. Oh my God, the more I look, the more I get pissed off. What is this guy talking about? Hold on.
I've talked about plenty of stuff to do with Super Dragon Ball Heroes in previous videos, and I thought it'd be fun to sometime in the future talk about Heroes' crazy elements even outside of, the game original forms. But before I talk about any of that though, it's crucial to understand the starting point of it all, and that is the 2010 MMORPG Dragon Ball Online. a game that has some of the craziest original lore of any Dragon Ball story after the original manga. There's nothing that even comes close, and both Xenoverse and Heroes eventually start taking elements from it, because that's how dense the amount of original content was. This will be a long deep dive, so no more wasting time. Let's dive right into the official Dragon Ball Online timeline. So here's a couple dates to keep in mind, just for reference in relation to the dates that will be introduced in this story. Chapter 1 of Dragon Ball to the end of Z takes place between the ages of 749 and 784. It's a span of 35 years in this universe, with Goku being 47 at the end of his journey, not factoring in the time chamber and times he was dead, which would make his physical body 43. The timeline of Dragon Ball Online going forward does not acknowledge GT, Battle of Gods, Super, or anything created after the original manga. But even without them, there is a rich history with many events I'd like to break down. 2 of these events happen before the end of Z on the official online timeline. Starting in 779, Launch escapes prison for the official 100th time. In 780, Pilaf makes another failed attempt at taking over the world. And from now on, we are in post-end of the series territory. Age 787, Mr. Satan wins the 29th Tenkaichi Budokai by having Buu clear the roster and sell out to him at the end of the finals. Basically, what we see he's been doing since the end of Z. The popularity of the tournament skyrockets, with the two idolized as stars. In that same year, Dende decides that due to both Elder Kai's objections and the world now at peace, it would be best for the Dragon Balls to be deactivated. This way, the natural order of the universe can be maintained, and evil can no longer misuse them. 3 years pass, and in age 790, the 30th Tenkaichi Budokai goes the same as the last one, with the whole tournament rigged in favor of the two typical cheaters. At this time, Buu gains a sense of longing for a relationship, feeling jealous of the couples he sees around him. After he finds a special book from Mr. Satan's library called Bob and Margaret's Forbidden Games, which funny enough is also the same book Roshi taught Goku to read with, he comes up with the idea to split part of himself off and turn it into his ideal partner. That would be the creation of Miss Buu, and he has a lovely relationship with her going forward. The following year, they conceive a child by combining pieces of themselves to create a single entity. This would be the starting point of the future Majin race, who all can trace their ancestry back to Buu. In age 793, Mr. Satan announces his retirement from martial arts and future tournaments. The reason given to the public is that he graciously stepped down to give a shot to the next generation of fighters. But the real reason is Buu lost interest in rigging tournaments for him, and so it became impossible for him to stay on top, you know, as a normal 57-year-old human. He would then attempt to capitalize on his former success with the telecommunicated Satan-style martial arts course, sold as a way to become like the world savior. It was really just a cash grab that was overpriced and utilized special effects to sell the audience on his power. A bunch of cheap tricks, as he used to criticize key battles as in the past. This didn't go over very well, and in the following year, angry customers attempt to confront him at his home. Eventually, a 15-year-old Pan is forced to drive them off. With such a big scandal on their hands, the only way to salvage the situation was for a rebrand into the Pan Fighting Network, with Pan as the teacher from here on out. She would ask Bulma to create a way for people to battle each other across the world without having to be in the same place. This resulted in the telecommunicated martial arts dojo, and it became very popular. In age 796, Mr. Satan stars in the film The Legend of Satan. He utilizes special effects to emulate the techniques used by the Z Fighters to defeat the movie's antagonists. While it doesn't do well at the box office, it eventually develops a cult following and inspires many people to learn how to control their ki from Pan's teachings. He eventually becomes a prolific movie star with many titles and genres under his belt. Now to the one I expect most people know. In age 801...
Did that say Satan Wars? Was that supposed to be the Dragon Ball equivalent of Star Wars?
Okay.
Goku, now at 64, with his body biologically being 60, feels that death will come for him soon. Why or how has he figured this out? Nobody really knows. All I can say is, I relate, Goku, but he leaves Earth with Vegeta, wishing to settle their rivalry once and for all. As I said in my last video, Toriyama implied Goku would probably never have any more life or death battles again after the end of Z, and would probably only face his rivals in friendly bouts for the rest of his days. This, however, would be his last and only serious battle since Buu. The two are never seen again, and years later the explosion of a supernova is detected, assumedly from their final battle. This was the end for two of the greatest warriors in the universe, the last two remaining full-blooded Saiyans, and the world would have to move on without them. Age 804. Goku and Vegeta's deaths still linger heavy on those who knew and loved them. Gohan decides to reflect on his great power and potential that his dad always believed in, and decides to study the source of that strength. This leads him to writing a book called The Science of Ki Control. This would inform the general public of this higher world of martial arts, and it became popular with many people learning how to fight through Gohan's research. I personally really love this, as this feels like the natural conclusion to Gohan's journey of being a scholar. It sometimes felt like a secondary aspect of him, something to make him a little bit different than Goku and the other Z fighters. Now, it's a natural combination of his skills as a fighter and a scholar in order to contribute something amazing to the future of this world. Many people took interest in the section of the book called Catching Can Be Cut, where Gohan, reflecting back on his training on the Supreme Kai world, reaches the conclusion that catching steel, the hardest known substance in the universe, can be cut by condensing ki into its utmost limits and forming a blade. However, as such concentration would be nigh impossible for the average person, it would be easier to channel such power into a real sword. And depending on the size, the weight and gravity would help condense the ki around the blade even easier. The following year, Trunks and Goten become aware of this rising interest in sword fighting and proclaim, "Swordsmanship's cool, isn't it? Let's set up an awesome school all by ourselves." Motivated by this goal, they start intensely training and develop their natural potential.
They need to make this canon. Allow Goten to be a sword fighter. Why not?
Almost immediately,
Adult Goten and adult Trunks. Imagine Gotenks with a sword. Bro, come on. There's way too much potential.
That they've carried since they were young. They then formed the Kikoken Jutsu School, or the Energy Control Fencing School, a style which focuses on techniques like the sword slash, multiple sword slash, flash slash, gravity break, and more. Age 820, the world's hero, Mr. Satan, passes away. The cause of death was never given, but he is held a funeral by the Earth's king. However, his passing brings about one of the first waves of terror the Earth will face for the foreseeable future. Remnants of Frieza's army had been waiting for this day, led by the Frieza Honor Guard, who once served to protect King Cold and Lord Frieza. They were absent when their two leaders hurried off to Earth in search of revenge, and therefore had no clue who ended their lives. In their research, they presumed the purported strongest man on Earth, Mr. Satan, was the one who ended their leaders. Believing that they have no chance against someone who bested their all-powerful emperors, they patiently waited until they knew he had passed away. Feeling victory was assured now, they descend upon the planet, with the resisting Earth's royal army falling against them.
Hello again, Ari. Hello, how are you?
Frieza Force utilizes a species of Bouillon-type aliens, and due to their crazy defensive capabilities are undeterred by all manner of firepower and martial arts. Goten and Trunks find that this is the perfect opportunity to put their new fighting style to the test, and they influence many martial artists who witness them. As the war rages on, the Frieza Force receives intel that Trunks was the killer of Cold and Frieza, so they set their sights on West City. The place had become a hotspot for Majin refugees who lost their homes in this great war, and many would even settle down in the city long into the future, developing their own culture. But now their new home was also under siege, and it was only a matter of time. Bulma, understanding the threat of annihilation her home now faces, finds a way to store the entire city into a capsule. Meanwhile, multiple Z fighters reunite at Master Roshi's, those being an 80.
So, Bulma can just make anything. She put an entire city in a capsule? Okay. She could just make anything.
87-year-old Tien, Krillin at 84, Gohan at 63, Trunks at 54, Goten at 53, and Pan at 41. The details of the battle are lost to time, but it's safe to say the soldiers who felt they weren't above Namek Frieza level eventually fell to the Z-Warriors, with no casualties to our cast. The remaining remnants on Earth went into hiding under the leadership of Frieza Honor Guard Captain Wada, biding their time until they could strike again. Age 821. After Gohan's book gained popularity, many sought out a school to hone their skills. Master Roshi caught wind of this, yet he denied to take on any students. Instead, he gave way to the future he foretold in the 22nd Tenkaichi Budokai all those years ago by passing the role of teacher on to Krillin and Tien. He asked them both one question: what could you do as a warrior of Earth? Krillin and Tien reflected on the battles of their past, and their conclusions became the foundations of the new Turtle School and new Crane School. Krillin reflected on the gap between Earthlings and the larger powers in the universe, like Namekians. In a world where you may not be able to win these battles on your own, he believed that Earthling warriors could take on a supportive role, hindering the enemy's movements, strengthening your allies. These are aspects needed to win when facing overwhelming odds. To him, assistance was not a lesser role at all. He would then establish the school on the island he and Goku trained on in memory of his best friend, and also because it invigorated his competitive spirit. These beliefs and teachings would continue to live on in the school long after his death. The new Turtle School would teach techniques like the Super Kamehameha, Scattering Bullet, and consecutive discs. The students would also be given staff weapons, similar in principle to Master Roshi's staff or Goku's power pole. Tien also came to recognize the large gap in power between Earthlings and the rest of the universe, but he refused to accept it. He continued to train and travel the world, eventually reaching the conclusion that he should place importance on perfecting ki-based attacks. He thought back to his Neo Tri-Beam holding off Cell, and Goku's Spirit Bomb destroying Kid Buu. No matter how much stronger your opponent is, if you can push your power to the extreme, then the odds would no longer be impossible. This was the basis for the new Crane School, which he would establish on the Mountain of Refreshing Scenery, formerly the Ox King's home Mount Frypan, in order to always remember Roshi's teachings. Also, in a meta sense, this is where we both saw the first Kamehameha of the series by Roshi, and Goku's first Kamehameha. So, this place holds special importance in the history of ki-based attacks. Perhaps in reference to the history of the mountain they train on, practitioners are given weapons similar to the Bancho fan. The moves taught in this style were the Dodon Ray, the Dodon Ray Barrage, and the Tri-Beam Cannon. The most powerful moves in the school would come at the cost of your own health, making them high-risk and high-reward techniques. These would be the Tri-Beam and Self-Destruction, in reference to the self-sacrificial nature of the Crane School Masters. As powerful as they are, it's clear the support style Krillin taught would be a necessary component in keeping them safe in the face of overwhelming opponents. With these founding principles, it's apparent the two schools would never be at odds again. Age 824. After the absolute devastation the Royal Army faced against the Frieza Force, Capsule Corp would establish the Balma Foundation and create the Tenkaichi Kagaku Hakurankai, or the World's Strongest Science Exhibition, as a scientific equivalent to the Tenkaichi Budokai. Basically, it's the world's greatest science fair, and with it, technology made great strides in progress. Age 825. The theme park Booby World. Yeah, get your laughs out now. We know the name's funny. Opens in South City, with most of the staff being Majins. The founder of this park is a man by the name of Mr. B, a blind boy who once had his eyesight restored by Boo and renamed himself to B to never forget that act of kindness. He gained a considerable amount of wealth and wanted to give thanks to his...
What's up, Bachi? How am I? Been better? I'm just tired. I want to be home. Did you get your rest? Did you get any rest? What sort of custom gi outfits are kind of like Dragon Ball Online outfits? I just realized it. Yeah, I realized that too. So far, I mean, yeah, the story is definitely very interesting. I will say that. There's nothing that's like extremely crazy that I've heard so far. Also, Booby World. I want to go there.
hero, but Boo was always busy with the Tenkaichi Budokai, so he never had the chance to meet him. He created the theme park as a way to give back to the people after the death of Mr. Satan and the attacks of the Frieza Force remnants left the world in a state of despair. He hoped the magic of the Majin race would help create a place to bring back smiles to the people of Earth, and the construction worker Majins would hone their skills, eventually becoming Daimajins. A year later, 90-year-old Yajirobe would descend Korin Tower to start cultivating senzu beans on the surface. Also, since it won't come up again, Korin's around. He's just like Roshi in that he'll never die of old age. Age 834, Frieza remnants now show themselves again and start attacking. A Majin named Mani Mani loses his life protecting his people. His heroic sacrifice would profoundly impact many Majins around the world, and those influenced by him would create the Majin classes of Ultima, Granma, Plasma, and Karma. Age 839. The Ki Battle is a new device unveiled in the 5th World's Greatest Science Tournament. The science of ki control theory from Gohan is applied to these devices that can store the user's ki and amplify it for great power. Mechs in these tournaments start being equipped with the Ki Battle. Now we enter one of the darkest periods of the timeline with Age 851. A powerful entity known only as Mira appears on New Namek with an army of androids, looking to obtain the Dragon Balls. The Namekians refuse to surrender them, and in response, Mira creates a spirit bomb formed from the energy of his soldiers. In an act of quick thinking, Grand Elder Mori and hundreds of Namekians quickly summon Porunga and wish themselves to Earth before Mira destroys New Namek, erasing their homeworld yet again. The surviving Namekians take up residence on Earth and get in contact with Dende. Dende warns the Earth's king about the incident with New Namek and the being called Mira, but they decide it's best to withhold this information as to not spread panic to the people of Earth. At first, the Namekians are protected in West City, but eventually they move out to a place they name Porunga Rocks, and also Yunzabit Heights, the place where Kami's spaceship landed long ago before the events of Dragon Ball. Age 853. The Namekians, wanting to atone for the loss of their homeworld, start training to defend themselves. The styles they develop would be the basis for the modern classes of Namekians, such as the Shadow Warrior, Dark Warrior, Denden Priest, and the Poco Priest. However, the evils of one Namekian still remained, as some of the mutant spawn of the old King Piccolo were still around. They were found hidden away in incubated eggs in places like Pilos Castle, and sometimes they would even breed naturally in the wild. Piccolo was aware they existed for a while, but couldn't solve the situation on his own, and just left them be. Grand Elder Mori suggests Piccolo and other Namekians gather the monsters up so they could be secured. Some Dragon Clan members started researching the monsters and how to become their handlers, becoming the Poco Priest class, which was led by Dende's younger brother Cargo. Yeah, that brother of Dende. In Age 855, the Capsule Corp Space Research Institute is founded. The king requests they develop ways to efficiently monitor space, considering what happened in New Namek just 4 years ago. Space travel is possible for Earth at this point, but not many are really capable of going. But to any space travelers out there, a license system is put in place to better monitor threats, allowing only permitted people to pass through. Age 891, the 100th anniversary of the Majin race's birth. The Majin Buu Memorial is built, which is a reconstruction of Majin Buu's house. Kinda a little insensitive considering, Buu's house was made of people molded like clay, but whatever, they probably don't know that. Editing Nathaniel here. After talking about him creating the Majin race with his wife Miss Buu, I realized Buu is no longer talked about in Dragon Ball Online lore as if he's still around. So even though he's like this immortal being, and I don't think the Frieza Force would have been able to kill him, he's apparently just gone or dead. I don't really know what happened there. Monuments of an old philosopher named Jerinovich are built across the world. Not much is said about the guy, but he is talked about in a textbook at Orange Star High School. Age 900, transportation becomes more streamlined thanks to teleportation machines invented by the Yardrats. Age 910. The Frieza forces hiding out on Earth start to expand their influence on the planet, with the center of their influence being Booby Island. Age 920 marks 100 years since the passing of Mr. Satan. People start requesting that Mr. Satan's controversial status be reevaluated, and the Legend of Satan is screened again with the newest CGI and filmmaking techniques. Because of this, a Satan-style branch of martial arts is then taught in the Pan Fighting Network. Age 940. It's been 98 years since the arrival of the Namekians on Earth, and things have been slowly changing. Apparently, a group of Namekians unknowingly settled in Isuri's lake near an old throne of the once great King Piccolo. The corruptive aura radiating from it caused evil to seep into their hearts, and they became successors to the long-forgotten Demon Clan. This evil permeated into a giant evil egg, and after it was discovered, it was kept sealed and hidden away. Age 951, the 100th anniversary of the destruction of New Namek and the Namekians' immigration to Earth. An important event that changed Namekian culture permanently, and far more drastically than Frieza destroying old Namek. So much has changed since then, and it will only continue to change from here on out. Age 962. The brand new Capsule Corp History Museum opens to the public. It's a grand opening celebrating both the 250th anniversary of Capsule Corp and the history of Earth. In age 972, the sealed evil Namekian egg hatches. Reports are conflicting, but this 32-year-long incubation process hatched a giant, powerful dark Namekian given the name the First Narok, and a new cast of dark Namekians are born with their numbers growing, taking on the same name of Narok. The growing forces decide to strike, and a civil war is raised against the good Namekians ruled by Grand Elder Mori. At some point, a dark Namekian named Gamelon became the leader of the Narok. Envious of the position Dende holds, he sets out to become the god of the dark Namekians. He also starts mind-controlling some Namekians to join his army. Piccolo, feeling responsible for letting this evil perpetuated by his predecessor get out of hand, keeps a close eye on them. Age 974. The ethologist Dr. Humboldt, a scientist who studies the behavior of animals, starts to develop animal data, a catalog of known creatures on Earth. With the crazy biodiversity of the dragon world and new species introduced in the last couple centuries, something like this became a necessity. Age 975. With the growing threats of the Frieza remnants and the Dark Namekians uprising, and the still unknown threat of Mira and his mysterious army on the horizon, the world needed heroes once again. Any Z-fighters besides Piccolo and Roshi were long gone by this point, and so Dende decided to draw upon the methods Piccolo used to prepare Gohan for the Saiyan invasion oh so long ago. The Troublemaker Education System was established, where children would be removed from their homes and find a way to survive in nature, all in the hopes of creating a new savior. The Earth's King complies with Dende's request, and the policy is implemented. Age 988. A group of criminals by the name of the Pila Gang cut down the stone mushrooms of Kikono Rocks. The group would be led by the man named Pila, a man who feels awfully familiar. Age 990. The Earth is in absolute turmoil. As world peace collapses, villainous organizations start forming across the world. And as these negative feelings and energies start permeating throughout the planet, wild animals and demonic beasts become more rampant and violent. It's a dark age for the world, and those striving for peace are getting desperate for something to change before everything collapses around them. Dende installs Popo stones around the world with the help of fortune teller Baba. These allow people who touch the stone to return to it if they faint in battle. A robot priestess gives a prophecy to Pila, and with it he desires to fulfill his goal of world domination, following the legacy of his ancestor Pilaf. Meanwhile, Toa, the sister of the late king of the demon realm Dabura, appears from the future in a time machine. She investigates the ruins of Jiro's old lab and starts her research on biotechnology and artificial humans. Age 991. It's the 200th birthday of the Majin race. The Tenkaichi Budokai's current champion is a man named Monger, rumored to be the reincarnation of Mr. Satan. He becomes widely known for an incident where he participated in a sparring match against 100 robots. The growing population of engineers wish to prove that robots aren't weak, and so the Tenkaichi Budokai opens the Ultimate Fighting Division, where participants can use armor, weapons, and robots. The format would separate into youth and adult divisions once again, and the types of matches would also expand into single and team battles. But, no matter how times change, the basic rules remain the same, and the Renout rule remains in play. Meanwhile, an anthropomorphic bison named General Bon creates the Red Pants Army, a successor to the Red Ribbon Army of old. He wishes to reinstate the nation so that they can try and take over the world once again. However, he was not the true leader. Instead, a clone of Dr. Gero and Android 9, codenamed Project Red, a giant android resembling Commander Red, were the real leaders behind the scenes. Many humanoid animals and Earthlings joined, and androids were now a large portion of the fighting force. These would include multiple copies of Android 16, Android 8000, and Android 19000. They would make contact with Frieza Force remnants and form an alliance to create an oil field facility. Also, due to his constantly upgraded cybernetics, Tao Pai Pai had become truly immortal as he continued to live on in this age as Tao X. Fun fact, Tao Pai Pai was born in age 459, as he and his brother Shen were alive along with Roshi during King Piccolo's invasion. So, by the time of his fight with Goku, he was already 291 years old. Considering this, he would be 532 years old as Tao X, age 992. The gun Batel is invented by Capsule Corporation researcher Guy, which is a gun that fires ki blasts using the principle of ki Batel. A couple years later in age 995, young Capsule Corp employees Sho and Lon defect from the company to join Pilaw's gang. Some things are just eternal. Age 996. Due to many accidents and misuse, people can now only use gun Batel if they carry a license. Finally, the dreaded time has come in the age of 998, as Mira's army descends upon Earth in his ship, making Booby Island their base of operations. Dende requests that Piccolo investigates all the evil organizations present on Earth in order to gather information on their movements. Capsule Corp at this time starts creating and mass-producing the support robot GBT Hope. Age 999. A face not seen on this Earth for hundreds of years arrives in the form of future Trunks, who is now a time patroller. With his time machine, he is sent to this time period by the Supreme Kai of Time to inform them of Mira's intentions. Mira is actually a time traveler like Trunks, who has been able to accomplish this thanks to a time passport that he stole. With it, he's been interfering with history everywhere with his army called the Time Breakers, creating paradoxes left and right. What the heroes don't know is that the Demon Realm scientist Toa traveled to Gero's lab in age 990 to find out how to create Mira as her new King of the Demon Realm. Mira desires to become the strongest being in history, being part Demon Realm race with the DNA of future Earthlings and outfitted with android parts. He's later confirmed to also have Saiyan DNA within him, but that may just be a byproduct of Earthlings descended from Goku or Vegeta's lineage. To achieve his goals, he harvests Keely to strengthen himself, the same type of key measurement Babidi utilized to summon Majin Buu. Piccolo returns from his investigation with disturbing news. Mira's army, the Frieza Force remnants, the Red Pants army, the Dark Namekians, and the Pilaw gang have all teamed up into a great evil alliance. At this point, even without these new allegiances, there's no one on Earth that could stand up to Mira alone. Realizing that the situation is at its worst possible outcome, Dende resolves that it's finally time. After 212 years, he decides to reintroduce Dragon Balls back into the world. However, there is far too much evil in the world that could lay their hands on them at this point. So Dende opts to create multiple smaller, weaker sets that limit the kind of wishes that can be made. He hopes these Dragon Balls will inspire young warriors to compete over them, and the multiple sets allow someone to realistically get all 7, supposing that the balls don't have to be from the same exact set, I guess. And finally, we hit the year that Dragon Ball Online story actually takes place, age 1000. 216 years since the end of Z. It's been 25 years since the Troublemaker education system was put in place, so many young warriors emerged from the Earthling, Namekian, and Majin races. They continue to train themselves, push for new heights, and finally fight to take back Earth from the many villainous organizations. Now, I don't plan on recapping all of the main story. In fact, that's something I'm still researching myself. But I think it would be cool to tell you how some of these plot threads resolve. Keep in mind, since Dragon Ball Online is a cancelled game, it never really had a completed story, and many elements just never got closure. For example, they may have done something with Oob at some point, but they just never got to it, making him strangely absent from the lore. Anyway, let's just talk about some of the major players, factions, and events. There are so many side characters and story details that makes my head spin, and they could warrant a whole other video itself, and this video is long enough as is. So, let's just focus on these aspects. One interesting thing about the Young Warriors you can play as in this game is that there is no Saiyan race, yet the Earthling avatars can go Super Saiyan. So, this means many of the Young Warriors are Earthlings who have descended from the lines of Goku and Vegeta. This would also be revealed as the case for B in the game's Super Dragon Ball Heroes World mission. The Namekians have a form simply known as the Red-Eyed Namekian form, which puts them on equal footing with Super Saiyans. I couldn't really find an explanation about where this form comes from, but perhaps it's a result of conquering the evil in your heart, which is what the Namekians have been struggling with ever since their time on Earth. The Majin race can undergo purification and become a pure Majin. Since all Majins descended from Buu, this means the purification makes them a pseudo-Kid Buu, with a ferocious and wild fighting style. Many of these youths will join into Trunks' Time Patrol to combat the Time Breakers. While the evil alliance is bound together, it's a tense relationship, as all of them have their own goals and agendas. The Dark Namekians and Time Breakers work together to construct Chocolate Tower, a dark reflection of Korin's tower for the Black Cat Hermit Chocolate. He is assisted by the Dark Namekians' eternal dragon, Mr. Poco Poco, to gather Keely to grow Dark Senzu Beans. Narak leader Gamelon wishes for this to be his throne akin to Kami's Lookout, his seat as the new god of this earth. However, the Time Patrol are able to defeat him along with the help of some of the freed mind-controlled Namekians. Chocolate Tower falls, but Gamelon holds out for his fellow Dark Namekian warrior Weak to assist him in taking out the Time Patrol. Unlucky for him though, Weak's allegiance is completely to the Time Breakers, and so he calls Gamelon a fool for letting the tower fall, executing him for his failure. Weak then faces the Time Patrol in his stead, only to fall as well. The Red Pants army are also defeated at some point, with General Bon, Clone Gero, Android 9, and the Timebreaker July all falling to the Time Patrol's power. Eventually, Tau X, along with his fellow assassins and rebuilt Red Ribbon Army, are defeated. The last of the Red Ribbon Army's
What's up,
legacy,
Isaiah?
Cell
Oh.
X, would be put in the care
so
of
we
Captain
doing that, huh?
Bacterian thanks to Toa,
All
in
right.
an effort to give him more
All right,
energy
I'll
to fight
remember
the
that.
Time Patrol. However, Cell X got tired of his confinement and eventually broke out. But, like everyone else, Cell X and his biomutant spawn would eventually fall to our heroes. The Time Breakers at this point had been going to the past multiple times, with the Time Patrol having to clean up their messes. One big reason being to give Mira the DNA of Goku to make himself the ultimate warrior in history. They would interfere with the Saiyan invasion in an attempt to attack Goku, and a strangely familiar masked man would interfere with Gohan's training by Piccolo. All are stopped dead in their tracks by the Time Patrollers. I wonder though, who could that masked guy be? Can't be Goku, as Mira wouldn't have to find Goku to extract his DNA in that case. Goten changed his hairstyle after the Buu arc, so it's probably not him. This game follows the manga continuity, so it can't be Turles. I guess we'll just have to find out. After thwarting the Time Breakers' plans to interrupt the Vegeta fight, the Time Patrol attempts to head home, only to be stopped by that masked Saiyan from earlier. The following battle results in his mask breaking and causing him to freak out and retreat. Just as the Time Patrol can finally leave, Trunks is caught off guard by an attack from Mira. The Time Patrol fight hard, but none are able to compete with Mira at all. Just as he prepares an attack to end them once and for all, the masked Saiyan puts Mira in a full Nelson. With his mask on, he's revealed to be Bardock. It turns out Mira went back in time to the moment Bardock would have been killed by Frieza, and then brainwashed him with the mask to become a loyal bodyguard. Bardock gives him his thanks for saving him back then, but now he'll do as he pleases with his own free will. Mira realizes that Bardock is planning to self-destruct and assures him that such a sacrifice would only be in vain. He would not die by such an attack. Bardock simply ignores him and says his goodbyes to Goku one more time before detonating himself. As the Time Patrol finally retreats, we see Mira standing in the aftermath of the explosion, completely unharmed. Eventually, the Time Breakers' plans send them to the Namek Arc. The Frieza Force remnants desire to revive their emperor, and therefore they go back to the time when Frieza was still alive to hopefully collect some of his DNA. The Sorceress Toa finally reveals herself to the cast and starts possessing some of Frieza's men, turning them into giants so that they can dish out some great damage and gather Keely for her. The soldiers manage to find Frieza's tail, which was sliced off by Krillin. However, in order to fight back against the Time Patrol, a soldier named Talk ended up eating it in order to power up. Unfortunately for him and the army, the sacrifice of this precious part of Frieza was in vain. The Time Breakers and Time Patrol end up leaving right before Goku's battle with Frieza. And after their continued failings with the Time Breakers, Regal, a Frieza honor guard, decides to turn on the Time Breakers without authorization by Captain Wada. However, both eventually fall to the Time Patrol in their Sky Dungeon spaceship. And for now, that's about all I want to share about Dragon Ball Online. One day, I'll look into giving a deeper dive into the events and characters of Age 1000, but for now I think just knowing some of these events
Okay, now that I know the full story of Dragon Ball Online, I mean it's very similar to Xenoverse.
Normally a shark will come up and knock the crap out of a bucket and they'll bite it and they'll put holes all through it. But they never take chunks out of them. This is what she did. She just kept tearing stuff up. So what is that thing? Obviously one kind of theory is it's some crazy mutation. We know of albino sharks, and then we also have leucism, where you get partial parts of the body go completely white.
From unusual coloring to two-headed sharks, mutations can stem from genetic disorders, inbreeding, or environmental toxins in the ocean.
Paul, I know you always are the one that has the blackness theory. What's the Paul version of this?
Okay, could it be a hybrid between a short-fitted mako and something else?
In other species, that's happened. So, for example, you've got scalloped hammerheads and Carolina scalloped hammerheads that are different species that hybridize. But it's within a genus.
Okay, so
Let's not take anything off the table until we actually get out there. How's that?
Hell yeah. It feels like we've got a mystery and an adventure at hand.
Here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna go out there and see this animal and bring you the biggest, baddest black mako. Get a sample from it, find out what the heck's really going on here.
And I have the perfect plan. This is like something you never think of. It's gonna be a surprise. You're gonna love it.
Okay, let's do it.
Finding a mako that and times. What do you think we should do?
what's up, Dark? Wait, this whole time you haven't, bro? You don't go to sleep. What? Let me send my Dragon Ball art.
The speed, the big gnarly teeth. When people talk about a shark, that's a shark.
He seems like he's getting a bit more agitated now.
Or should we look at free diving again? I got my brain inside there. All heads below to see if any are lurking deeper.
Okay, so right now I'm getting some videos up so we can react to them. We're gonna look on Discord. Oh, the Code Vein stuff. Yeah, I saw that.
so far I got 3 videos. Thinking a couple more.
So we all know that there's
What? For Honor dropped a new character. Okay, gotta react to that. Freaking Ubisoft. You know what? Nah, not giving Ubisoft anything. Screw that. Ooh. Let's check that dude. Okay, so I already saw this trailer, but I'm gonna let y'all see it. I'm gonna put it on replay. I'll be right back.
And we're rolling. Take 52.
This is Sloan Beaumont speaking. Yes, from the commercials. Ominous spokesperson, chief strategy officer, and you know what? I'm just gonna say it. Friend. Listen, I was given the chance to run a massive clandestine research project out of the local park. And the work that we are doing is, how do I say this without saying it? It's scary. I shouldn't say it's scary. Our team is doing it new Ominid style, baby. So, no leaks. No teens. Just calm, cool science. We've heard your requests, and we are proud to announce that we are so close on so many exciting developments. It hasn't been easy. Yes, the fatality rate for our employees seems bad, but you know, if you do compare it to other city park miniaturization research programs, it's really not, you know, forget this. Can we, maybe we don't use that? But we're Ominid. We're strong. We're normal. It's going to be amazing. Okay, when you see where this whole thing is headed, you are gonna smile and shake your head and think, I can't believe she did it. Or we did it. You'll be so proud to have been there from the beginning. You might even, you know, feel something. This is Sloan Beaumont speaking. Yes, from the commercials. Ominous spokesperson, chief strategy officer, and you know what? I'm just gonna say it. Friend. Listen, I was given the chance to run a massive clandestine research project out of the local park. And the work that we are doing is, how do I say this without saying it? It's scary. I shouldn't say it's scary. Our team is doing it new Ominous style, baby. So, no leaks. No teens. Just calm, cool science. We've heard your requests, and we are proud to announce that we are so close on so many exciting developments. It hasn't been easy. Yes, the fatality rate for our employees seems bad, but you know, if you do compare it to other city park miniaturization research programs, it's really not, you know, forget this. Can we, maybe we don't use that? But we're ominous. We're strong. We're normal. It's going to be amazing. Okay, when you see where this whole thing is headed, you are gonna smile and shake your head and think, I can't believe she did it. Or we did it. You'll be so proud to have been there from the beginning. You might even, you know, feel something.
And we're rolling. Take 52.
This is Sloan Beaumont speaking. Yes, from the commercials. Ominous spokesperson, chief strategy officer, and you know what? I'm just gonna say it. Friend. Listen, I was given the chance to run a massive clandestine research project out of the local park. And the work that we are doing is, how do I say this without saying it? It's scary. I shouldn't say it's scary. Our team is doing it new Ominous style, baby. So, no leaks. No teens. Just calm, cool science. We've heard your requests, and we are proud to announce that we are so close on so many exciting developments. It hasn't been easy. Yes, the fatality rate for our employees seems bad, but you know, if you do compare it to other city park miniaturization research programs, it's really not, you know, forget this. Can we, maybe we don't use that? But we're ominous. We're strong. We're normal. It's going to be amazing. Okay, when you see where this whole thing is headed, you are gonna smile and shake your head and think, I can't believe she did it. Or we did it. You'll be so proud to have been there from the beginning. You might even, you know, feel something.
Alright, I'm back. So that was Grounded 2. Dark, I'm excited for this game. We got Blue Protocol. An official closed beta, also. So let's check this out. Still waiting for this game to release, also. Crazy.
Okay, so we can get our own home and customize it. I see. Yeah. I only drink coffee on occasion. And also, starting to only drink coffee if I really need it. Oh, new support club? July 24th. Not bad.
Come on, buddy. Come on. I hate the desk. Hey.
You know what? Before I let's watch Rafa.
Rafa. Light the dice! Looking good? Feeling good. You didn't think we were finished, did you? Yikes. Here come the fireworks! Accept fate! You have selected Die in a Screaming Inferno. Adios.
Wait, I kind of rock. Okay, Kai. You did your thing. I really do rock with the voice that you chose.
Light the dice! Looking good?
I also need to find this music. I want to find this song.
You didn't think we were finished, did you? Yikes. Here come the fireworks! Accept fate! You have selected Die in a Screaming Inferno. Adios.
Hey, howdy, how's it going? My name.
There's an issue with tanks and Marvel Rivals right now, and no, I don't mean that they're running rampant. I mean that nobody wants to play them at all. Even the tank mains, they don't want to play the tanks right now. And as a fellow tank player myself, I think I know why that may be. Alright, before we dive in, this is going to be more of a yap video, but don't worry, I got that gameplay up for you already. Cue the Subway Surfers. Yeah. Okay. Take it away. Take the Subway Surfers. But if you like this style of content where I just yap, make sure to like and subscribe. We're super close to 10K, and I really appreciate the support because a lot of time and dedication goes into editing these videos. So thank you guys for watching, and thank you guys for 8K. We're super close. But without further ado, let's get right into the video. The people who are really complaining about lack of tanks are the tank players themselves and the DPS players. Support players, maybe. I don't really see support players complaining about tanks. They're kind of in their own world. But an issue I feel like tanks have is just, for starters, there's just way more DPS in this game. There's more than double DPS characters in this game compared to tanks and supports combined. So obviously when there's a higher amount of characters in one class, that class is automatically going to be more saturated with players. So for one, the game devs can just actually stop releasing DPS characters for a while, but I know they won't because that brings in attention.
Yeah, they
But
won't.
another main issue why I feel like people do not want to learn a tank is because, for one, the DPS characters are just more fun. And what I mean by that is that they take more mechanical skill than an actual support or a tank. No, I'm not saying the class is more skilled. No, I'm not saying this class is harder than this. What I'm saying is trying to pick up a character like Bucky takes way more mechanical skill, but is an overall easier concept to grasp than tanking. Tanking requires you to have all these invisible stats like peeling. And yes, I know DPS characters can peel too, but sometimes they just don't. Or creating space. Stuff you can't really see on the scoreboard that's really important for this game. While DPS, your main job is to get as many kills as you can with as little damage as possible, because you don't really want to feed, but you want to get kills, you know? So it requires you to have good mechanical skill to aim properly, or, you know, just take out a character quick. While that could be said too for a tank, tanks usually don't have like really high burst damage unless you're Captain America with like the one-shot combo. But I'm getting a little off track. Essentially, DPS characters just take more mechanical skill. Now, why would that be an issue? Because it's more rewarding than playing tank. If you're doing good on a character like Psylocke versus doing good on a character like Doctor Strange, you're gonna have way more fun playing on Psylocke because you're just popping off, getting so many kills. It's just that dopamine rush. And once you do learn those mechanical skills on a DPS character, you just get rewarded better. So it just feels more rewarding to be good on a DPS character overall. Now, when I say rewarded, I don't necessarily mean wins. I just mean like you feel better about being good on a DPS character, you know? Like, who doesn't want to get 12 kills with Bucky's ultimate, bro? And another issue with the tanks, I feel like, is, for one, the fact that nobody wants to play tanks, period. They're harder to learn. And the one person who probably wants to play tank probably wants to run something like an off tank, like Thor or the Thing, because they're just more mechanically fun. You're pressing more buttons at a time than just left click, shield, left click, right click. Like, you're just doing more than just standing around being a big shield. Again, this is just my opinion. Obviously, you might find shield tanks fun, but generally, I just feel like an off tank, mechanically wise, is just more fun than, you know, Doctor Strange or Magneto. But back on topic, the one guy who's willing to go tank probably wants to play like Thor. Thor's gonna get wiped, and he needs a second tank so he can actually do pretty decent. But since nobody's playing tank, the whole team's gonna get screwed, because now we effectively have a no tank, because Thor sucks as a solo tank. And then this soul mentality sets up the reason why tank players are kind of retiring in a way, because then their team starts saying, hey, can you switch to this solo tank like Doctor Strange, Magneto, Groot, a character that you don't want to play so we can all win? Or, as some people take it, play this character so I can have fun and you can be a shield, bitch boy. And as a tank player myself, I get the feeling all the time, bro. You know how many times I want to just hop into ranked and play Thor, but I gotta hop on Magneto because he's just way stronger and no one else is running tank. Everyone else is just running DPS characters and supports. Now, obviously, it is match dependent. Sometimes you do have to switch off of this tank because they have counters. But if you just queued up into the match and everyone's already talking about switch, then yeah, I'm gonna feel some type of way. Why don't you, the DPS player, just help the team out and go another tank? Because 2 off tanks can work. 1 off tank can work too, but it's kind of harder. More dedication needs to go towards healing the tank, and running a shield tank just makes it way easier. Now, granted, like I said, it's all matchup dependent. Not every one match is going to be the same as the next, but typically, wouldn't you just feel safer if you had a Doctor Strange on your team as a solo tank compared to like a Thing? Yeah, I think I'd feel a little bit safer. How they could fix that, I'm not too entirely sure. I think there could be other solutions to other existing problems that would contribute to the lack of tanks. But fixing off tanks to be more suited and grounded for solo tanking, I don't think they could ever fix that without having like wonky tank characters. Now, this is just my opinion. Playing tank is the hardest role in the game. Now, before you dislike the video, bro, relax. Just relax. Let me explain. I understand that the teams will not function without at least one type of class on the team, unless you're running something weird like goats. It all contributes to the win. So my big, grand solution for all of this, for all of the reasons people don't want to play tank, or there's just a lack of tanks in general, they just need to add more interesting tanks. Now, I've already released a really old video about potential tank characters they could add, like Thanos, or Moon Girl and Devil Dinosaur. Now, while I do still want those characters in the game, I've realized a lot of tankier characters in Marvel are kind of just cookie cutter and boring in general. Every time you're scrolling on TikTok or something and you see like character suggestions or like character concept ideas and someone suggests a tank, it's either like Colossus or Juggernaut or some big bulky dude whose power is just super strength and like super durability. And yeah, that's cool, but for a video game like
Yeah, the asking for tanks and Marvel Rivals, for the most part, we just choose the characters that literally fit the role of they just tank a lot of hits. Most of them have the same like powers. There needs to be more diversity, like for example having a character like Doctor Strange be a tank. I feel like Doctor Strange by himself should be a way to show that there is a lot of other characters that could be tanks. Because if there's, I feel like magicians or anyone in the ways of like chaos, arts, and other things, they could definitely be tanks. But obviously, they're going to ask for the obvious tank players, which sucks, but you know it is what it is.
like Rivals, how differently would they play compared to someone like the Hulk, the Thing, or Captain America? Like all these melee tanks, how would they really play that much differently? So they just need to add more interesting tanks, more complex tanks, something more than
Oh yeah, and most characters in Marvel are just fist fighters. Like truthfully, almost all characters in Marvel fight with their fists. I just think for tanks specifically, I want Ant-Man. I think Ant-Man would be such an interesting tank. Just because he has regular, he'll be able to turn extremely giant. Obviously, he's gonna move slower in his giant form. But oh, what's up? Pick me up. Ant-Man. Ant-Man tank 800 HP. Could shrink his hitbox to 1 pixel. Yeah, we really thought of the same thing. I mean, Ant-Man would be. I think he would be a great addition. But also, I'm thinking, okay, for the Avengers specifically, the Avengers in Marvel Rivals don't have a support like at all. They don't have a specific character that can fit on support. So I'm gonna throw out another tank, but low key, hear me out. We could either have Vision as a support character or Vision as a tank character, and he would basically be like the support character for the Avengers. Because really thinking about it, the Avengers are just all DPS or tanks. Gee, Hulk, Thor, Captain America, Iron Man, Hawkeye, Black Widow. All of them are either tanks or DPS. We need a healer. So I'm thinking Vision, and they could build Vision as like some type of main healer, because let it be the Vision that has the Mind Stone.
I don't know.
And just shoot 2 primaries, shoot a left click, hold up your shield, and then just rinse and repeat. We need a 5-star tank, someone who's not Penny. And this is another thing, like I just mentioned, all the melee tanks, they're kind of similar, they all have their own unique kits, but at the end of the day, they're all really similar, they're all melee, they're all punching you, you know. And then the shield tanks, they all just function similarly. Our only real unique tanks are Groot, Penny, Venom, and kind of Emma Frost. The only reason I say kind of for Emma Frost is because she's unique in the fact that she has 2 stances, but those 2 stances are already just something that we already have, melee and shield tank. So it's unique in the fact that it's 2 stances, but we already have both of those. And while I understand it's kind of hard to balance a tank, we just need something better than what we already have. Like, I really like Penny's kit. She has one of the most unique kits in the game, but she's not a good solo tank, let alone a tank period. Her kit kind of just relies on the enemies being stupid. You set up a trap on a health pack with a dive comp, they're gonna probably fall for it.
Look,
but if the enemy's smart enough to not fall
Candido,
for the health
I don't know if
pack, Penny's value
Candido's
is
still
kind of
here,
just
but
gone.
he is like,
Sure, she could just put her
at
nest
this
behind a
person
wall and,
currently,
benefit from that. But then
at this
just, like,
moment
by the
currently,
wall or go on
Candido
and break
is
the
the
nest. I don't think
spokesperson
Penny's
for
that good of a tank right now.
the
Now,
Penny
Groot,
mains.
He's really interesting because you place walls all over the map.
And you
mainly
know,
just
I
behind
was
enemy
thinking
tanks
about
to
what
cut
could,
off their source of healing. And
what
I
kind
think
of buff they could do. Hold on, I gotta put this on. And that's just so I could do this. So I was thinking about what could be done to Penny, because one of the big conversations we had yesterday was Penny Parker buffs and nerfs. And I think for Penny, because I threw out the idea about her projectile, her basic attack, you know that. I threw out the idea of you shoot it, after it gets to a certain distance, it like separates into 5 separate shots, and it's like a buckshot far away. But it's like a condensed buckshot. So it's like you can hit people. You can hit people like close, but obviously you have to be very good at aiming. And people far away, you can hit them more reliably. But then I was like, okay, how about we scrap that and think of a different idea? And then I was thinking, what about maybe increasing the movement speed of the attack itself? So I was thinking about that for her basic attack. And I was like, instead of maybe it could be like it could be more of a rapid fire type thing. It wouldn't be like hit scan type of fast, but it would be easier to lead with your shots and land more shots. And also, pick me up. I hope you have a good one, man. Okay, I do have a couple other concepts for like strategists and tanks.
Because another character that I had low key as a strategist,
And tell me how y'all feel about it. I got Falcon.
and I know that sounds crazy. Hola again, Ari. Hola, hola.
I tried playing Penny earlier today. Just not a fan of her playstyle. I feel it. If Emma wasn't running a whole bakery, hey, you're right. I probably would feel more aligned with tank players grieving about the game state right now. You know what? I want to say right now, at least for
Water check.
I'll take a gulp since I did drink a few minutes ago.
Okay.
Personally, I feel like right now, look, I'm using the Thing always. The Thing is like one of the best tanks right now. I feel like they need to fix Penny. They definitely need to rework Thor's ultimate because it's very unreliable most of the time. More creativity and tanks added. Well, we're gonna talking about creativity. We're gonna switch. Oh, if anybody wants to know what that song was, it is a jazz version of Metal Gear Solid 3 Snake Eater. Very nice song.
Not that good at helping their friends out.
Alright, now it's time.
I got a pretty long list of options, and for this video I trimmed it down to 10 of them that I think would bring something new to the game. Either in the kit, their style, their vibe, their smell. Wait. And let me start out with some of the obvious choices. I want to keep those really spectacular ones for last. When you have a hero in your game called Triage, you know what the deal is. You know that is a support. His real name is Christopher Mures, a mutant that actually discovered his powers by saving a friend that was on the brink of dying. She bumped her head or something. In the end, he ended up joining the X-Men. His healing style is very direct because he can summon and manipulate life force. That sounds like a Jedi, to be honest. But basically, he wills people to heal and to stay alive.
Alright, and speaking of which, the co-leader of the Penny Mains,
Candido.
So, look, we gotta talk about Penny's basic attack. Something needs to be done so that she can be a little bit better. So what do you think? Also, you know what? Let me go Vanguard since we're just talking about Vanguards. But yeah, we need more creativity. You know what? Not just in tanks. We need more for healers as well. Because healers should not have to rely on their ultimates to heal their allies. And I know that sounds crazy, but like, we shouldn't have to always rely on having healers who have a broken ultimate. We should more so rely on having healers with a unique ultimate that brings something new to the game as well. Tank wise, we just need less melee characters and more something else. Personally. Oh, shout out to this guy named Allfather. This guy on
Not long after their engagement,
I've been following him on Twitter, and you know we've been talking a lot. He a cool guy.
Isn't it incredible?
and Judy thinks it's time to celebrate.
All right, we're gonna talk about some of his concept videos.
he doesn't have that many, but hey,
A concept is a concept. Can definitely green. Definitely can't be all Juggernaut, Hulk, Colossus. And you know what's interesting? There is a way to make them all unique in their own way. There's a way. There's always a way. So let's watch this. Look at Cosmic Wonder on the MCU reboot.
This is a gameplay concept for War Machine in Marvel Rivals. War Machine will be a vanguard capable of fighting up close with his wrist-mounted cannons and his stun baton, as well as being able to take flight and rain down area-of-effect attacks on his enemies. I envision War Machine as having a unique mechanic called overheat state, where he has to balance the power usage between his weapons and his flight systems. While flying, overuse of his primary attack or some of his abilities can cause the suit to overheat, which makes him become grounded, and this status has to be managed by the player for maximum effectiveness. Unlike Iron Man, War Machine's default mode of movement is on the ground. Pressing L1 will put you into hover mode, where you can use L1 to gain height or L2 to descend, and while in hover mode you can press circle to enter a short burst of free flight. War Machine's primary attack is holding R2 to fire its wrist-mounted machine guns. These can be used continuously with a short reload, and they can be used while in the air, but they will contribute towards the overheat state of the flight systems.
See, I'm with the overheat thing state.
Which, when fully charged, you can press R3 to deliver a quick, powerful strike that will stun and exile an enemy for a short time. R1.
A melee being that, I'm okay with that.
And 2 sticks of dynamite were wired to the car's tail light, rigged to detonate when the lights turned on.
Fire on its own.
News of the explosion hits like a
The auto-targeting
shockwave.
system can also be activated while
I
hovering.
wonder if that's the same John Gentry
But using
I
it
had
in
met
these
with
modes will
Judy
cause you to
the year
overheat faster.
before. At
This
that point, I had
ability also
called
has
the
an
detectives who
alternative
were
effect.
working the case,
If
and
you
I said,
hold R1
that
instead
man
of tapping it,
was
this will
involved
cause
with a
the
woman
turret
named
to go
Judy
into something
Buenoania.
called
You need to
focus
check
fire.
her out
Though it will
because
shoot
I
wherever you're
think that she
aiming
could
with the
possibly be
combined
involved.
firepower of your wrist gauntlets as well. This allows you to stack
Investigators
Yeah,
find
War
Judy
Machine
Buenoania
has to be a tank.
right at John Gentry's side.
used while hovering, but again, it will contribute
Well,
towards
we
the
also are getting the hood as well.
rocket payload and bombs across the grid. This will contribute towards your overheat, and it also has its own separate cooldown once
She just
used.
didn't fit the
War
picture.
Machine's
There's something
Optimus
wrong
is
with
one
her.
like
I just didn't
where you
like her
unleash his
attitude.
entire arsenal in
And when
one massive
Detective
burst.
Chamberlain
It can be
takes a
used both
closer
on the
look at her
ground or
life,
while in hover
he
mode.
uncovers
Hey, I'm
a
cool with
trail
To
of
clarify a
terror.
little bit more about how overheat works and
It's like
also
you
how
open
it
one
affects
door,
your
go
weapons.
through.
Now, his ultimate being Punisher's ultimate. I'm 50-50 on that. I think I would rather his ultimate be. I think I want his ultimate to be this. I think that could be interesting and make a gameplay very interesting because he could be more of a denying access to a specific area type of character. I feel like this should be his ultimate.
Free flight mode to drop a payload and bombs across the grid. This will contribute towards your overheat, and it also has its own separate.
Are you? I'm future you. And I came to tell you something very
Yeah, it would fit him more than Punisher, that's true.
Press X
I just think this could be a way more interesting ultimate because it could add a whole new gameplay aspect. Because if an enemy team sees a War Machine about to ult, they know, okay, that area is off limits even if you use... We don't want to waste the healer ult, we have to go a different route.
Until I got clear skin with Bimzelix, I can't wait to say.
Because, and the main reason why I'm saying we gotta change it is because imagine having a team with Punisher and War Machine. No. Also, high key, I would love it if the Hulkbuster suit was in this game. I mean, I feel like the Hulkbuster could work in this game personally. Yeah, Atomic Ban if he gets in, because it's like you don't want to deal with.
Let's start with the eye charts.
You want to deal with a Punisher and
And you booked an eye exam online?
Okay,
oh my
good
god,
thanks.
he would be so broken if that
This
was
is
the
the quality
case.
comprehensive
Automatic
exam.
ban.
Come again?
You
Automatic.
asked me to top line it for you.
Okay.
towards your overheat.
But I do
Bottom line.
like the
Bottom line
I
is,
do
this
like
is
the
an
case
amazing
of
value.
overheat
War
in this
Machine's
game.
Ultimate is
Wow.
Well,
one
as he's
Get
talking
two
about.
pairs of glasses and an eye exam starting at $89.95, or two pairs of progressives and an exam for $159.95. America's best.
I like the concept of overheat. So it's like he's not going to be effectively in the air all the time.
while also in hover or
Ever
flight
since we
mode will
introduced
fill
him
up
to
and
the
overheat
farmer's
more.
dog,
And
his
once full,
quality
this
of
will cause
life
War Machine to
has
become
been forever
grounded until the
changed.
suit
He
cools down.
prefers
Now you
real
can choose to
human
manually
grade
cool down the suit by pressing
It's
square,
like
and this
real
will allow you
food.
to
It
continue
is.
flying
He's a
whilst
happy
using
dog
those
now. He's
abilities
a
for longer periods of time. But
happy
the
dog.
trade-off is
He's a
that
happy,
manually
happy,
cooling down
happy
the
dog.
suit will use up your ultimate charge. Half of your ultimate charge will
You
wait for
ready
full
for the
cooling.
ultimate
So
entertainment
for example,
experience?
if you chose to immediately
Oh,
set your
using
ultimate
your
to
ultimate
standard,
charge to
it
help
will
your
use
cooldown.
up to
Actually,
50% of
that's
your ultimate
that could be
charge. So
interesting.
it's down to you to decide what you think is more valuable at any given time. Access to flight or
I'm
travel.
okay with that.
War Machine's team up would be with
Across
Rocket
your
Raccoon,
devices.
and he can
You
ride
know,
his shoulder
War Machine and Rocket have to have
This
a
effect
team up.
gives War Machine two shoulder-mounted cannons
Your
and one
success
repeater
starts
barrels.
with your
An
customers.
additional
At
benefit
Spectrum
of the
Reach,
team up is
our
that while
success
I feel like
starts
Rocket
with them.
Raccoon should
We
get a
give
new.
businesses of all sizes the
Yeah,
advertising
Rocket
budget
Raccoon
they
should get a
need
new
with
like
the right mix of
healing
premium
turret
inventory
or
across
something.
traditional and streaming
That could be
TVs,
cool.
and the data and
that you
insights
see
to
him as
target the right
moving into
customers,
a
even
Vanguard
beyond
tourist
Spectrum
hire.
households,
In the same
making
way
sure
that
your
Mr.
ads are working for
Fantastic
you
is a
and
Judas
for your
Banner
budget.
hybrid
Spectrum
in
Reach
some
takes
ways.
care of
If you enjoyed
businesses,
this video,
so
drop a like and
businesses can
subscribe
take
down
care of their
below.
customers.
Have a good
Visit
day wherever you are, and I'll see you in the next one.
All right, next. The timing on that, crazy by the way. All right, next one is Vision.
This is a gameplay concept for Vision in Marvel Rivals. Vision will be a well-rounded Vanguard character who's able to use his phase
Iceman,
ability
Iceman
to attack
would
from defense
easily
and
be a
attack
tank.
in huge quantities. His melee
But
attack with
think
Rocket
about,
will be molecular density strikes.
and this is mainly because Kuzan Aokiji did mental damage to me in Bounty Rush. Imagine how annoying his getting frozen is about to be. That is going to be crazy annoying. But you know what? Wonder Man. I think Wonder Man could also work in this game. I don't know what he would be. Vision. I feel like, personally, I feel like Vision could be a strategist or a tank. He could literally fit either one. I personally feel like.
A 4-hit combo that charges up the damage potential is Solar Beam. The Solar Gem Beam is his primary ranged attack with R2. It has a short recharge and reload animation once depleted. It has a base damage value, but its damage potential can also be increased by landing melee strikes, similar to how Dr. Streeter's charges up Pressing R1 will activate phase shift. In this form, Vision's able to fly and is able to pass through walls that can be destroyed.
Blue Marvel has to be a
He
tank.
can't take damage while this form is active, but he also enters a state of combat.
Blue Marvel
Can't be healed
as a
by
tank.
allies, but
Sentry could be a tank as well.
it's useful for getting behind the enemy team to set up bolts or to escape from bad situations.
yeah.
Bear in mind that you had low health when you entered phase shift, you'll still have low health when you come out. L1 activates critical mass. This grants Vision
Critical
2
mass.
increasing health shield on top of his base health, applies a 50-point health shield to his nearest 2 allies, makes him immune to knockbacks and crowd control for a short time,
An ability that gives immunity to crowd control could be crazy.
I didn't think she was having a seizure. But one additional benefit is that if Jeff the Landshark swallows Vision while he's in his critical mass form, Jeff moves slower. Vision's ultimate is Synthesoid Slam. You press L3 and R3.
Investigators believe there's much in Judy's past to
so you can
uncover.
still take damage, but
So they
at a
start by
slightly
exhuming the bodies
similar to
of James
Hyperion?
and Bobby Joe Morris.
I feel like Hyperion is more of a DPS.
It does extremely high damage at the epicenter, and then area of effect less damage. His team up will be with Scarlet Witch, and it will be called Reality War, and while Scarlet Witch is on the team, Vision's able to sustain his intangible and
We found
transforms for
lethal
a longer period.
dosage
I hope you've
of
enjoyed this
arsenic,
concept for
levels
how
that
Vision
were so
could
high
play.
they could kill
Let
a
me know your
man
thoughts.
Okay.
10 times over.
Here's my thing. Also, Iceman could low key work. You know what? No, I don't want to put another like ice character as a healer. But Iceman could work as a healer low key, but he would more so fit as a tank though. Making ice constructs? Oh yes. Kamala as a tank? See, and from what the Marvel Rivals devs told us is that when they make a concept of a character, they look at every version of the character before they finalize the character in the game. Kamala, man, it's so hard because like they could either make her, if she's a tank, she's literally just gonna be Reed.
It's beyond belief.
Like literally, she'd just be Reed,
To anyone,
which I'm okay with though. I am 100% okay with that.
Evil personified.
Other trials soon follow. Judy is convicted in the attempted murder of John Gentry and given an additional 12 years in prison.
Marvel has an endless backlog of
She's then
characters
tried for the murder of her husband, James
Goodyear.
Goodyear.
Fans of the game like myself and others online speculating on who they're going to eventually add to the game in the future. Last week, I made a video going over a top 15 list of characters that I would want to see in Marvel Rivals.
Hold on. Sandman? Sandman as a tank? Yo. I want that. I want Sandman as a tank. He would be sick. He would be sick. And Silver Surfer as a strategist? Yeah. I'm with that too. And yeah, put Nova in the game. Why not? Why not? Alright. Yo, why do your eyes look... Yeah, your eyes look gigantic for some reason.
Rivals, just as an interesting thought experiment for myself, and currently it has 30,000 views and is my most viewed video on the channel. So we're doing a part 2 today. So if you haven't seen that first video, I highly recommend you go check it out. But what we're quickly going to do is detail all the characters that I want to see in the game, at least for this week, with 15 characters, 5 in each class, and a character list and breakdown sheet of their abilities and ults and everything you need to know about the character. I said this in my previous video, but there's characters obviously like for Duelist being like Cyclops and Nightcrawler that people obviously want to see coming into the game. Characters like Ghost Rider as well are something that you guys absolutely mentioned time over time again in last video, and unfortunately those are not characters I'm going to talk about today because of course everyone wants those characters in the game. What I've got today is 15 unique characters that honestly I haven't seen anyone really talk about except for a few of them, and I think the powers and abilities that I have for these characters are extremely unique, so I'm really excited to tell you guys about what I have and more characters that I want in Marvel Rivals. So let's just go ahead and get into it, starting with the tanks for the first 5 characters that I have on this list. First up on our tank list, I have Doc Ock, and for his primary fire we have
Doc Ock as a tank.
We can detect a suspicious echo or track from a considerable
Granted,
distance, which will then
yeah,
need to be monitored
it would make more sense for him to be a tank
There appears to be a boat
than
anchored
like
in
a
the
support
middle of the sea,
character,
which
low
they will
key.
have to go and inspect.
It would make sense. Let's hear about that.
have just robotic tentacles. Doc Ock uses his arms to swing upon anyone up to 15 meters for this ranged attack, but can also obviously do damage up close as well. The closer you are, the more damage this is going to do. For his first tactical, I have Extendo Arms. Doc Ock elevates himself using his arms into the air high above the battlefield, avoiding any ground-based attacks and melee characters, unless you're Iron Fist who can for some reason fly. Think of attacks like Squirrel Girl Stampede that he can fly above. While doing this, he also has a 1.5 movement speed increase, and Doc Ock is then equipped with a plasma rifle that does slightly more damage than his primary fire attack. For his second tactical, I have Buzzsaw. When activated, one of his tentacles turns into a buzzsaw and can cut through any overshield like butter, as well as doing damage to that enemy, obviously. This is great for cutting through things like Groot walls and different tanks' shields like Doctor Strange and Magneto, but also can cut through Wolverine and Mr. Fantastic's overshields. For his ultimate, I have Power of the Sun.
The power of the sun.
in the palm of my hand.
Doc Ock plants himself down and is then able to absorb more damage while taking less damage to his HP pool, and then picks up a single enemy with two of his arms and is crushing their head while also blasting them with his other two tentacles using the power of the sun. This is basically an isolation ult, and this is able to be matched with a buzzsaw to get rid of annoying Doctor Stranges or Magnetos that are enemy tanks that are hard to kill with their shields. For his passive, I have an arm block. He basically just uses all four of his robotic arms to cancel any incoming attack and blocking damage for a brief period of time. This can only protect himself up to 400 HP. For his team up, he just has another 10% damage increased with any OG Sinister Six member. This is going to be a reoccurring thing for Spider-Man villains. Second on this list, I have the Rhino. For his primary fire, he's just got his fist. This is an up-close melee tank that uses his fist to hit people for his primary attack. He could easily break through Groot walls with maybe 1 or 2 hits and has increased damage on shields and other enemy equipment. For his first tactical, I have just a standard headbutt. When activated, Rhino dips his head down and pierces the enemy with his horn.
Personally, I see Doc Ock as a strategist because that's like his main thing. And you know what? I'm gonna work on my own version of Doc Ock as a strategist. But if we were to put Rhino in this game,
And 6 aerial bases distributed
Hmm.
throughout Spanish territory.
Our job is to combat smuggling and the black market.
see, Rhino is obviously a vanguard, but it's also like,
Sweden, the USA,
Hmm.
and Croatia.
he would be basically a lackluster version of like Things Charge and I guess Hulk. But let's hear him out.
While doing so, Rhino also has a faster damage output with his primary fire, that being his fist, and does slightly more damage increase for just 5 seconds. Think of Iron Fist when he does his ult and just says "Xinghuo Shangheng" and just starts going like crazy. It's going to be like that, but obviously not as fast. For his second tactical, I have Ricochet. Any incoming attack is then ricocheted back to the general area that it came from. About 25 to 50% of the attack that's being ricocheted will actually hit the original enemy that attacked him. This does not work on any ults though. Rhino takes also 10% of his damage during this ability, so you can still kill him, and it only lasts for about 5 seconds. For his ultimate, I have Piercing Horn. Rhino puts down his head and speed blitzes with his horn, killing anyone and absolutely everything in his path. During this, Rhino also gets an incoming damage reduction. He leaves behind a vision blur in his
Okay, I feel like Rhino, to make him more unique, definitely it has to be a Rhino that's his base costume. It's got to be more so like the Spider-Man games. Do it more like the Spider-Man games and let one of his regular outfits be the OG outfit, right? But for this game, I think something else for Rhino could actually be, he could be more of a movement tank. Because, I mean, I think it's always implied that whenever Rhino's running, he doesn't really stop. He doesn't really stop most of the time. So, Rhino should have a charge that gets faster the longer he's running, and it does more damage in like on like the tip of the horn. It basically does the same thing Things Charge does, but it's faster. Faster does more damage on the tip. But I also think, you know what? I need to make a, okay. I need to make one for the Sinister Six. I just gotta make one for the Sinister Six. But if we have to put Rhino into this game, it has to be a version of this Spider-Man's Rhino design, so that he has more working for him.
his path because he's running so fast as well. For his passive, he does not take any damage from any gas-based attacks and can also see through smoke bombs like Punishers. For his team up, again, he has 10% damage increase when he's on the same team with any Sinister Six member. Third on this list, I have Sabretooth, who's a dive tank. His primary fire uses just his Razor Claws as an up-close melee tank.
Oh, so we're using comic book. We're using comic book villains like that. We're using Sabretooth. Sabretooth, I feel like should be the tank version of Wolverine. He should be, right? He should be.
To get past tank shields. His first tactical is titled Bleed. When this is activated, his claws extend and do more damage, and it does. On this list, I have Sabretooth, who's a dive tank. His primary fire uses just his Razor Claws as an up-close melee tank to get past tank shields. His first tactical is titled Bleed. When this is activated, his claws extend and do more damage, and it does faster damage as well with those slashes. While this effect is active, any enemy that takes damage by this will be quote-unquote bleeding, taking continuous damage, and cannot be healed as fast. For his second tactical, he can wall climb. As a dive tank, Sabretooth can then extend his claws onto any structure and climb for however long he wants during this ability while it is activated. He cannot do any damage to the walls though, or anyone that is on other walls like Spider-Man or Venom as well. He can stay perched on the wall, however, as long as he wants to. When this ability is cancelled, Sabretooth then chooses to jump off the wall and can dive into any direction he wants, tackling enemies and doing damage as well. For his ultimate, I don't really have a name for this, he just screams at the top of his lungs as loud as he wants. Sabretooth then sprints into battle and pulls his claws into a flattened state and then stabs an enemy through a chest and can kidnap them. While running away, he has a speed increase and is doing continuous damage to the player that he has kidnapped and can also wall crawl. With this, think of him just diving into the objective, taking his hand, stabbing someone, grabbing them, and then he can just sprint away, taking back a healer away from their team or just isolating a tank. While this is happening, his passive, of course, is a 1.5 walking speed increase and 15% damage increase only when attacking Wolverine. I really like this idea because Wolverine is so annoying. Fourth on this list, I have Crimson Dynamo. For his primary fire, he's got two.
Okay, now this is an interesting take. This one, Crimson Dynamo would be a great tank. He would be a great tank for real. But yeah, Sabretooth's ultimate being he literally takes somebody from the enemy team and runs away with them. And you know what? You could add the effect of him dragging them on the ground, like doing additional damage. Low key, I like that idea. Sabretooth is an aggressive dive tank that literally kidnaps an enemy. I like that. I like that. But it's time for the Crimson Dynamo.
Concealed chest-mounted turrets that shoot out of basically like his nipples. Just two machine guns that shoot out of his chest. Able to quickly aim and unload and pour into the poor soul that is receiving the ends of his turrets. More damage that is done the closer he is to his target, of course. For his first tactical, I have Electronic Blast. Dynamo uses his repulsors to shoot electronic blast that does damage to players, hits and stuns the characters that are too close to the targeted enemies by electrocuting them. Think of him just shooting repulsor blasts, but anyone that's caught next to the enemy that he isolated then gets electrocuted and gets stunned and takes a little bit of damage as well. For a second tactical, I have Shoulder Rockets. A barrage of rockets launch from his shoulders, and you can choose to have these be concussive for holding points, muting all audios, and doing damage to people, or just explosive splash damage for holding points as well. For his ultimate, it's a chest plate bomb. If anyone knows who Crimson Dynamo is, you know there's a comic where he has a huge just bomb in his chest. So during this ultimate, Crimson Dynamo opens up his chest to reveal that he has a bomb in his chest. Dynamo takes through this animation the bomb out of his chest and throws it over his head right below onto the floor below him, doing immense splash damage to anyone and everything around him. This is absolutely great for clearing an objective or clearing a choke point. For his passive, he receives 10% less damage from any Iron Man or War Machine characters in the map. I want this guy to have like a very thick Russian accent, and I want the sound cues when he's walking to be very robotic and clunky and rusty and just obviously a dupe of Iron Man, but in a tank form.
Apocalypse would be great.
Iron Man, of course. Lastly on this list, I have Luke Cage. His primary fire, again with another melee tank, he's just got his fists, right? Nothing too crazy there. For his first tactical, I have Thunderclap. Think of this like Hulk's iconic Thunderclap. When used, Luke Cage can clap his hands together and do a shockwave that destroys any shields, any healing bubbles as well, doing damage to enemies in the path. For his second tactical, when activated, he now has bulletproof skin. I know he always has that, but that's just the ability for this one. When activated, Luke Cage has a 50% damage reduction to any incoming attacks, except for melee attacks. While this is activated, Luke's damage output and speed while running is primarily increased and doing damage as well. So when this is activated, anyone that's shooting at him, it just takes 50% less damage. Unless you're Iron Fist or Wolverine, then you're in his face and can do more damage. This encourages the enemy team to dive you, but you're a tank, so obviously there's going to be people surrounding you to do damage to that dive character. It's kind of a give and take. For his ultimate, I have Superhuman Leap. Luke Cage just straight up jumps into the air as high as he can, and gets a few seconds to decide where to then dive bomb. Upon landing, if he hits a character and does critical damage to them, he gives them a splash damage while landing. His primary rate of fire and his damage output is increased after doing splash damage to whoever he dove on. This is great for diving onto an objective or just diving onto a backline and killing as many healers as possible. For his passive, we have Superhuman Ability. Luke Cage obviously gets a 1.5 walking speed increase because he's a superhuman. For his team up, when he's paired on the same team as Iron Fist, Luke Cage has an accelerated healing factor. Let me know what you guys think about this, because I really like this idea of Luke Cage, but for the honorable mentions for other tanks to maybe do a part 3 in the future, if this one does as well as the first one, I have Man-Thing, Baymax, because Marvel owns Baymax, which I didn't know, Hyperion, Arnim Zola, and Captain Marvel. So that would be a flying tank as well, but I'm most excited about Baymax. But let's go shoot on over to the DPS and see what characters I have on this list. First up for DPS, I have Havoc. For his primary fire, I have Plasma Blast. Havoc shoots Plasma Blast in the form of concentric circles from his body. Nothing too crazy there. For his first tactical, I have Plasma Emission. When activated, Havoc's primary fire, Plasma Blast, have a larger area width, being able to hit multiple enemies at once, as well as having a damage output increase. For Plasma Overload being his second tactical, Havoc then throws a Tron-style Plasma Disc, doing increased damage once Havoc hits 3 consecutive shots on an enemy. After that, they're forced to reload their current attack, then putting it on cooldown. For his passive, I have Stored Energy. Similar to Doctor Strange's passive, when Havoc takes damage, his stored energy number then goes from 1 to 100. When Havoc blasts his converted plasma energy from his chest, the higher the number that is, the more damage it does, obviously. Instead of it being Doctor Strange's passive, where he does more damage to get that number, Havoc's is kind of the inverse of that. Once Havoc takes more damage, it increases that number. So you want to be able to be in the battle with this, because the higher damage number you have and the more damage you take, the higher output he can then convert that to plasma energy and force that onto the enemy. Let's go to his ult, that being Energy Absorption. When activated, Havoc blasts into the air and then does a dive bomb, killing enemies in his landing zone. At the moment of impact, Havoc's body emits circular energy blasts in all direction in a circumference, knocking back enemies in the area of effect on the ground but also in the air, allowing them to then get eliminated, picked off, or even healed from the enemy team. This is great for dive bombing and clearing points. For his passive, if you're a comic fan of Havoc, you know he has heat immunity. Havoc takes less damage from any fire-based attacks. Havoc also has a 10% less damage for Cyclops, because they're brothers and their abilities don't work on each other in the comics. But a team up with Cyclops is when they're both on the same team, they both have a 5% damage increase. So he takes less damage from Cyclops, but when they're on the same team, they can do more damage output. Someone I'm super excited about on this list, number 2 being Gwenpool. Hear me out, guys. For her primary fire, she's just got her katanas.
Yeah, I feel like Havoc could easily fit. Havoc could fit. And be actually kind of an interesting DPS.
She's a melee ranged-based character with 2 katanas slicing and dicing anyone she deems fit. For her first tactical, I have her comic book Pink MP5. When activated, Gwen has an MP5 that has 2 50-round drum mags and obviously has fall-off damage as well. So the up close you are, the more damage you do to an enemy in your path. For her second tactical, since she's known to break the fourth wall, I have Gutter Space. When activated, Gwen can see through structures and teleport wherever she desires. This is great for getting in and out of situations. For her passive, think of the Iron Fist triple jump. I just want her bouncing around doing as much damage in the air, being kind of hard to hit as possible. Mix that with her teleport first ability, I think it's would be pretty cool. For her ultimate, this is kind of get a little confusing, so bear with me. I have plot armor. Gwen knows she's in a video game because she knows every fourth wall code that there is, and she knows everything in here is just binary ones and zeros, and she can obviously do whatever she wants. Because of that, she is able to temporarily mess with the enemy's guns, melee attack, or any form of incoming damage, and has that damage code then be reversed onto the enemies only in her small area of attack. This area is about 3/4 the size of Luna Snow's ult, so if the enemies stop firing, then no damage is done to them, but they take the risk of them getting killed by her allies. A way to counter this is to run away or shoot at Gwen outside of the area of attack. So if you're away from Gwen, you can shoot her, but if you're up close in that area of attack, all that damage is going to be reversed back at you. Match this with her teleport and or triple jump, and it can cause some crazy movement moments. A team up is that when she's on the same team with Deadpool, because he's eventually coming to the game, both of them absorb 10% less damage. But when she's on the same team with Jeff the Shark, every 60 seconds, Jeff can teleport via jumping through the comic book panels of the game as well. Overall, I think she'd be a really interesting dive character with up-close melee swords and also the option to teleport or do some range damage with her NP5. Third on my DPS list, I have Sunspot, his primary fire being Solar Blast, a range-based hero that blasts fireballs. For his first tactical, I have Solar Absorption. In this state, Sunspot takes less damage and can channel the power of his Solar Blast into a Solar Beam. When used, movement is slowed down, but damage output is a single beam that shoots across his chest, and that is greatly increased for the damage. This is great for melting tanks and absolutely destroying any equipment or walls in the way. For a second tactical, Sunspot charges himself up momentarily, allowing for thermal damage updrafts to propel him in the air for flight, with an increased solar attack doing more damage as well. For his ultimate, I have Here Comes the Sun.
Here comes the sun.
Sunspot releases a charged state of solar energy in a ranged circumference, dealing damage to anyone nearby, and anyone who is not killed by this will then be unable to get healed for about 3 seconds. Think of this as a mix of Wanda's ult and Miles Morales' ability in the Spider-Man PS5 games. Except he's not able to one-shot anyone or anything in this. Anything that survives will then not be able to be healed momentarily. This is great for just absolutely doing damage across the board, but it's not like Wanda where it's just a copy and paste of her ult where she can melt anyone. For his passive, he takes 10% less damage from other fire-based heroes as well. For a team up with this, I think it'd be really unique if it grants the Human Torch the ability to charge up Sunspot every 60 seconds. This is doing a third tactical blast that just gives him a huge fireball with both hands. Think of like an Iron Man ult. It's nothing crazy, but it does a lot of splash damage and can only be done when charged up with the Human Torch. These last two, to be fair, are my favorite for the DPS, and that being the Flying Falcon with Red Wing. For his primary fire, I have these red crystal daggers that he has in the comics. For his first tactical for Falcon, Red Wing scans the area and Falcon is then able to spot enemies. Think of a Bloodhound scan from Apex Legends. The enemies that are spotted are susceptible to taking 10% more damage. For his second tactical, he has a speed flight increase and a damage increase as well. He has a third tactical as well, that being every 90 seconds, Falcon shoots one big dagger from his wings. This is able to be basically like a Legion mine from Rainbow Six Siege. The enemy that is hit with this has to stop moving and stand still to take out the attacking Legion that's in him, and taking out this dart basically has to make them stand still. If this dart is not taken out, it will do continuous poison damage until it is then taken out. For his passive, he's flying. Nothing too crazy there. He has a team-up ability with Captain America and Bucky, granting all three of them a 20% damage increase when they're teamed up together. For his ultimate, it's just a bird screech, titled Bird Swarm. Falcon and Red Wing call in a swarm of birds to dive bomb an area of attack. Think of Psylocke's circle that she bombs and has an area of attack there. All these birds are going to be flying down, doing damage like the swarm from Black Ops 2. Doing damage to enemies in the area, but you can also pick out one character to pick up into the air with the birds, doing 10% more damage just by isolating them, allowing the team to then attack that enemy. Lastly on this DPS list, I have the one and only Green Goblin. For his primary fire, he shoots laser blasts emitted from his glider. It's pretty basic. For his first tactical, I have pumpkin bombs. During this duration for 10 seconds, Goblin can cycle between explosive pumpkin bombs to lob down below and do splash damage, or his second type of pumpkin bomb that is just a laughing gas. This gas has an area of effect that stuns movement and does continuous damage to those that are in the area of effect. For his second tactical, when activated, Goblin's glider has a 1.5 speed increase, and he is now able to also shoot from his wrist gauntlets as well as from the glider. This is just a very quick rapid-fire laser attack that does increased damage since you're shooting from the glider and his wrist, also with the speed increase.
Am I tired? A little. A little, but I'll be taking like a little break right after stream. And then coming back with like Marvel Rivals or something, I don't know. I'll be back going to the store. Okay.
On that glider. For his ultimate, I have Misery, Misery, Misery.
Misery, misery, misery.
You then choose to solo ult one character on the enemy team with Goblin's glider. This glider auto-locks onto the character of your choice, and the glider then extends blades in front of the glider and dives bomb a character and stabs whomever you choose. Think of Thor as a dive tank where he takes a character and just dives straight into them with his hammer, except you're doing this from the sky with Goblin's glider blades, killing them in the process. This kills any healer or DPS and takes off 50% of the tank's health when you dive them. Honorable mentions for this list, there was a lot of DPS that I've seen you guys request in the comments of the last video, and ones that I really wanted but didn't really know exactly how to do their kits. I have Black Bolt, Black Knight, a Super Scroll, White Tiger, and Beta Ray Bill.
Hold on. What? Why hasn't anyone talked about Super Scroll as a tank? Wait, hold on. Black Knight? Black Knight and a Super Scroll would be great tanks. Hold on. We gotta talk about that. Those two are great suggestions. Oh, bro, I have some work to do after the stream. Get hyped for Friday, bro. Ready or not?
If this video does just as well as the other ones, then those are the 5 I'm going with in the next video. But let's hop on over to the healers and round out this video. First up on my healer list, I have Heimdall. His primary fire is him swinging his huge sword. After 3 hits are done to an enemy consecutively, the rest of his hits then leave behind an area of effect with a healing wind. For his first tactical,
Unfortunately, I'm a little bit too tired. So next stream, I'll do an additional.
As well as having a speed boost once they come out the other side. For his second tactical, he has Foresight. Heimdall increases his ult charge by 20% and also increases one other teammate on his team's ult charge by 20% as well as healing them in the process. For his ultimate, I have Bifrost Beam. Heimdall summons the Bifrost down from the heaven to a desired location. Any allies that are in this area will instantly be healed, and if they leave the area, then they'll have a healing over time for the rest of the duration of his ultimate. For his passive, I have Enhanced Senses. He can see any low HP enemies through the walls, just as the healers can see low HP allies through walls, and he can then use this to call out to his teammates where exactly to pick them off. For his team up, of course, I have when he's on the same team as Thor and Hela.
Next stream, I might be asleep. Please get your rest.
Where they can also have a decreased vision range and can see low HP enemies through the wall. This passive for Hela and Thor isn't able to see them as far as Heimdall can, but it's about half the duration. So if you get someone low and they're
also Heimdall being a healer, yo, I'm kind of with that. That'd be cool.
Second on this list, I have High Evolutionary as
High
a healer.
Evolutionary.
His primary fire being energy manipulation. He can manipulate and project energy healing orbs and can be doing damage at the same time as well. For his first tactical, I have Telepathy. 2 teammates on a cooldown are chosen to then be healed. He can heal teammates through walls doing this as well, and any damage that is done to those chosen allies will also increase the speed that they're being healed. If a teammate gets to full health, it resets the ability, and the High Evolutionary can then restart the process again with another team member. For a second tactical, I have Spatial Pressure. He blasts telekinetic rays pushing back enemies from you, but also has the ability to heal any allies that are caught in that ray. For his ultimate, I have Levitation. The High Evolutionary can levitate any allies near him for instant high ground advantage, healing them in the process as well. This can be used to dodge any incoming ults or just to get above enemies for strategic plays. For a passive on him, I have every 45 seconds he can levitate and quote-unquote fly, just how Wanda does, just to get a better line of sight and to heal people as fast as possible and also do damage. At any moment during this, he can activate gravity boots and fall straight back down to the ground. For a team up, not for him, him, but for
You
Adam
know
Warlock
how
or
crazy
Rocket
it's
when
gonna
they're on
be
his
having
team,
high
they do
high
50% more
evolutionary
damage
and
than
Rocket
any other
Raccoon
high
on the team
evolutionary
on the
his
same
team.
team.
Third on this
Did I
list,
eat?
I
I
have
ate
Blizzard,
breakfast.
and admittedly, I
That's it
really wanted this
so
guy to be
far.
a tank. And if I can find the comment, then I'll put it on the screen right now. One of you guys in the last video said that it would be really cool if the Lizard was like a tankish healer, and that's exactly what I did. So thanks for that idea. Primary fire, again, I just have claws. He's a swiping combo up close melee healer. These can be used to do up close damage to anyone that's diving on you, and due to his long arms, the range is honestly not too bad. For his first tactical, I have it called Lizard Land. He calls in a swarm of lizards to come from underground to follow and attach to allies, granting them healing based over time. For his second tactical, I have Tail Whip. He uses his tail to swing in a circle and hit back any incoming enemies, sending them flying back away into the air, as well as taking damage to the enemy that you shot away from your team. After this, your tail falls off every time you do it, and it regenerates, of course, but your nearby teammates are healed when the scales of your tail that just fell off go into the air and disperse in the area around you. For his ultimate, I have Dioxis Gas. When activated, the lizard opens up 2 canisters of Dioxis Gas, puts them on his back. If you're in the area of effect, you get a lizard-like mutation granting you an auto health regeneration, a double jump, and a damage reduction for any incoming damage. With this ult, you basically turn into like a lizard mutant for a little bit of time, granting you more abilities and also healing based
Look,
over time.
I'll be
For his
hyped.
passive, the
Just
lizard uses
give
claws to
me
climb
a
up
minute.
walls. Nothing too crazy there. And for his team up, again, a 10% damage increase when you're on the team with any Sinister Six member. Next up, I have Molecule Man. His primary fire being spatial manipulation.
Molecule
Man fires orbs that heal allies and do damage to enemies. Once 200 HP has been healed, Molecule Man then teleports closer to that ally, being able to heal them faster and fully heal them. The same is done for doing damage. After 200 damage is done with this, you then teleport an enemy closer to you, being able to be a little closer and do more damage, just isolating that enemy just slightly in order for him and his team to do more damage. His first tactical I have called the Cosmic Cube. Molecule Man places down a cube that has 400 HP. This cube emits energy strings that heals his allies nearby. These strings also do damage to any enemies that touch them in the way. Think of them kind of like spider webs that shoot out, but they're charged with energy. So if you're an enemy and you walk up into it, it's going to do damage to you, so you kind of have to like move around these little lasers that are shooting out of this Cosmic Cube. For a second tactical, I have Reality Warping. Molecule Man places down a bubble that encloses his allies inside of it, granting them healing at once they're inside the bubble. You can then choose to leave the bubble if you're on his team, but you cannot re-enter the bubble. This bubble is like a Gibraltar bubble where it blocks any incoming damage up to 500 HP. You can shoot out of it as well once you're inside of it. For his ultimate, I have Master Absorption. Similar to Magneto's ult, when activated, Molecule Man has an area of effect that any incoming damage is then equally redistributed to allies in the form of healing. While doing so, his primary fire damage output is increased tremendously, being able to do more damage and to heal teammates as fast as he can during his ult. For his passive, Molecule Man receives an incoming damage reduction by 30%, making it harder for him to kill, overall being a tank-like healer as well. Lastly on this list, I have Kane the Conqueror as a healer. His primary fire being his healing hands. Kane can switch from doing damage to enemies or from healing his teammates with his hands.
Kane the Conqueror
but you cannot
would
do
be.
both as well. Like
I feel like
dagger
Kane the
can
Conqueror
do
could be a
damage and
deep.
heal. You got to choose one or the other with Kane. Kane's
Honestly,
first tactical is
more of a
Time
tank.
Steal.
Like
Kane basically
tank
sets
or
down a
healer,
tactical
he could
insertion
fit
from
either
Black Ops
or.
2 if you're familiar with that, and when the team is healthy, he places that down. Later on in the fight, after his team is on low health, he can activate this Time Sphere. The enemies that were nearby when King set down this tactical insertion are now instantly healed to about 75% of their health.
Welcome
If they
back,
don't take
Bull.
any damage for the next 30 seconds, then they're instantly healed to full health. This quick heals anyone, but it's not too broken. Once it's popped up, you save your teammates by giving them health, but you can still be killed in the process as well because you're not fully healed. For a second tactical, I have an anti-gravity device. Kane throws down a bubble that heals anyone inside of the bubble and reduces incoming attack by 50%, that being only projectiles. Any projectiles that fly into this bubble due to its anti-gravity effect get shot around and only 50% of the incoming projectiles do damage. Any melee characters that are in your face when you put this down will be healing your allies, but if you have a Wolverine in your face, you're still getting killed or the damage done by him. For his ultimate, I have I Am Kang. King throws down 5 discs and is then able to grab his teammates with these discs, putting them on the disc, granting them healing over time. While in these discs, King can run around with the team, basically pocketing them and moving your allies away from a choke point, away from an objective, away from spawn, or away from an ult. You put these little discs down, think of them like the Frozone plates from The Incredibles, these little discs that put a bubble over your teammates, giving them healing over time, and he can just move you, like, really fast. So if you're needing to cap an objective really fast before the time runs out, he puts down this ult, grabs his team, and then has
I
his
do
speed
think that
and
could be
drags you
low-key
guys super
broken,
fast
but
to
we
the
gotta see.
objective, also healing you guys in the process. You can also opt out of these discs at any time. If you have someone trolling you and wants to put you in a bubble and take you off the map, you can just click B or whatever it might be
Oh
on
my
PC
god.
to opt out of this.
I would not want Bull
For
to
his
be
passive, I have an anti-matter shield.
I would not
This is done
want
about
Bull
every 90 seconds, but we get
to
a
play
big
King
attack
to
coming towards you,
Conquer,
or you have
put
an
me in
Iron
a
Man in the
bubble,
sky trying
and
to
throw
unite
me
you.
off the
He just
map.
has a shield
It's
that's
already
called
bad
an
enough
anti-matter shield,
when that
and all
Johnny
that damage
when
just
that
goes
Johnny
through
and
the shield
Thing team up
into the
come
shadow
in.
realm. Pretty good for just holding your ground, but again, that's every 90 seconds.
What are you
Honorable
talking
mentions
about,
for
bro?
healers. Again,
What?
if this video does well, and these
How?
videos go next time, I have Mr. Negative, Doorman, Pixie, Forget Me Not, and Shuri, Black Panther's.
Okay. Mr. Negative, I could see. Doorman, low key, yes.
Forget Me Not?
Forget Me Not's a crazy one.
Shuri?
I think Shuri could easily be a healer. Pixie, I think Pixie was already low key confirmed also in like the leaks.
As it turns out, they are not the only ones with a bad feeling about Suzanne Carno.
I was a professor at the University of Nevada at Las Vegas, and the department.
I've got a confession to make. I am absolutely obsessed with Overwatch, is what no one says anymore. Because Marvel Rivals is here and it's destroying the gaming industry. It's plummeted player counts of games like Siege, Apex, and Fortnite, absolutely murdered Overwatch.
Cosmo
and
the
I don't think
Dog?
this game is going anywhere. Recently,
I think we
devs
should
said
have
that every
more
1.5 months
animals.
They're going to introduce a new character to the game, and that announcement alone got me thinking. What characters are Marvel going to introduce to Marvel Rivals? If you look at the catalog of characters, it's absolutely endless of who they could introduce. There's been no-name characters like Luna Snow that people like me, fans of comic books and superhero movies, that finally know who Luna Snow is purely because of Marvel Rivals. Then there's characters like Ultron who are leaks to come, or Fantastic Four with the Human Torch and the Thing that are introduced to the game but aren't here yet. There's endless possibilities and outcomes of characters that they could add, and I think that's only going to work to their benefit. Why am I saying all this? Because I've seen countless TikToks and YouTube videos of people saying, oh, I want this character, I want this character to come to the game, and now it's my turn to throw my hat in the ring. Except this time I'm going to go through and break down the character sheets that I actually have for the 15 characters that I have fan-casted or fan-wanting, fan-wishing for the game. It's including 5 of each category: tank, DPS, and healer, and I think I've got some very unique picks. There's also characters like Drax and Gamora, who are the only missing characters from teams like Guardians of the Galaxy that are already in
Drax
the game, so I'm not going to say, oh, I wish Drax was in the game, because that's a given. And there's also characters like Thanos, who everyone wants to be a tank and come to the game, and that's just not going to entertain anybody, and it's going to be stupid if I say, yeah, I want Thanos to come, because, like, yeah, everyone wants Thanos to come. So I think I have 15 unique characters, as well as their character sheets that hopefully you guys enjoy. So let's get into the video right now, starting with the first 5 tanks that I want added to the game as my wish list for Marvel Rivals. First up on this list, I have Sandman. His primary is just going to be Club Fist, that up-close melee changes Sandman's fists into different types of medieval weapons. For his tactical, I have Sandbag, where Sandman throws sandbag bombs, doing splash damage and stunning enemies. For his second tactical, I have a quicksand trap, a trap-like area that when enemies walk into it, it slows down their movements and giving them damage as well. The longer you stay in this effect and the longer you try to struggle and run away, the longer it's going to last. It lasts until you're stationary. Think of quicksand. When you struggle, you only sink faster. Once you're stationary, this effect quickly goes away on the characters. It's great for holding points. For his ult, I have sandcastles. Sandman places down a sandcastle and teammates can get inside of it, which increases the damage output for the team, as well as blocking 25 to 50% of incoming projectile damage. Think of this as like a micro Newcastle ult from Apex Legends. His passive is just going to equip other spider characters with Sand Fist, that when they hit enemies, it stuns them. Second on this list for tanks, I have the Juggernaut. For his primary fire, he's got these fists, nothing too crazy about it. For tactical number 1, it's a charged up super punch that sends hit enemies flying back and stunning them. Preferably, this is timed up with his ultimate, which we'll get to later on. This super punch knocks back enemies, waiting for you then to run over and kill them with his ultimate. For his second tactical, I have incoming damage decrease, speed increase, and a damage output increase as well. If you pair this with his first tactical, you can do some serious damage. For 2 of his passives, I have giving him the fastball special with Wolverine, of course, and then also something called the Iron Dome, which because of his helmet, it removes the headshot damage multiplier. Lastly, for his ultimate, I have I'm the Juggernaut. Juggernaut then runs through structures and through characters as well, and honestly anything in his path, moving characters to the side and stunning them, allowing teammates to then pick them off very quickly. During this Juggernaut stampede, he is also unable to die during this run. This character is best used as a dive tank just to absolutely destroy the healers and any of the squishies on the enemy team. Third, I have Iceman Bobby Drake, except we're going to beef up Iceman and make him this huge monster tank, which would be really cool to see. His primary, he just throws snowballs or ice grenades, doing damage to anyone who hits with them. For his tactical, Iceman's going to spray the ice on the floor, which then allows nearby teammates that run on it, granting them a speed boost, and then any enemy characters that step on it, they take damage, stunning them for a few seconds, and allowing them to slide back and forth as well. Think of like the Fortnite trap ice cubes that they put on their feet. That's what's going to happen to the enemy team here, except whatever direction they run in, they're just going to keep on sliding. So if you're on the enemy team, you do not want to step in this. But if you're on his team, it's going to grant you a speed increase, which is a pretty cool balance. First passive, it's going to grant the Human Torch to have a Fire and Ice Tornado passive upgrade, and then this team up also gives Luna and other ice characters that we're going to add to the game later on 1.5 damage output increase. For his second tactical, it's nothing too crazy, but it's going to be ice ramps. Think of like Frozone, or if you've watched the animated series with Iceman in it, just little ice ramps for people to fly up on. Enemies, they cannot go up this ramp, they'll slide down.
That could be
This
very
is gonna be
useful
a very
for getting
movement-based
back to
tank,
the
though,
point
allowing
too.
him to run around and reposition, and having having teammates actually follow him up the ramps as well. For his ultimate, I have what I like to call Freeze Hell. Iceman makes an ice storm blizzard, and in this area of effect, it stuns, damages, and lowers the brightness of the screen for enemies inside the area of effect. No one can be healed while inside this if you are on the enemy team. Fourth on this list, I have a fan favorite, the Big Wheel. It's a huge tank, and he just stays put, basically. His primary fire is just going to be blasters on his wheel. After many consecutive hits on the enemy, his passive then steps in, where he shocks the enemy that he shot, but also stunning the enemies around him as well. His tactical is then a launching rocket that shoots 2 rockets that stun enemies that it blasts, as well as leaving fire
the
impact
fact
on
that
the
the
spots below.
that
He
the
shoots 2 rockets
devs
at a time. His ultimate
said
would
that
be
they
a
would
big wheel where he just
they're
goes
trying to
turbo
put
mode,
in
man.
more
He just starts
obscure
driving around
characters.
the map, breaking
Low
any
key, the
structures,
big
kinda like
wheel would
Juggernaut,
probably
that
fit.
can root walls or any enemies in the way. He does damage, stunning anyone
What are
who
you
hits,
talking about,
and leaving an
Bull?
oil trail behind him
I would
that
not
gives you a
main
speed
Iceman
decrease if you
because of
step
that.
on it and you're on the enemy team. All of this as well, while he's going in turbo mode, he's just shooting lasers left and right.
See,
going
I was about to
crazy,
say something
not targeting
crazy.
anyone, but if it hits you, it's going
Which
to go
I can't say because I might
Lastly
get
on this
canceled.
list, I have a flying tank because I really want this character in the game, but it's going to be really hard to make him a DPS that's not going to be exactly like Iron Man. I have War Machine, of course. So he's a flying tank that can fly, flash, hover. That's going to be one of his passives. He can go up in the air, but not for too long, kind of like Doctor Strange. His primary, he has 2 dual wrist machine guns where he just shoots left and right, doing as much damage as possible. For his tactical, he drops down an automatic turret that locks on to whoever you want to, as well as your shoulder turret coming out and firing and locking on to the same enemy as well. For his ultimate, I have a carpet bombing run. Think of in Infinity War, whenever a War Machine flies over and drops the bombs on the enemies at the Wakandan battle, it's going to be like that. He sets up the script in the air, flies up into the air, and just does an absolute nuclear bomb, carpet bomb run. His power-up is going to be with Iron Man for his passive team up. When Iron Man and him are on the same team, every 90 seconds, Iron Man gets the 2 little like laser wrist things that he got from Iron Man 2, and Iron Man is then able to fly onto the ground, land, do a superhero landing, do a 360 where he just slices
That is
through
not
damage
true.
to anyone
That is
around
not
him,
true
and then
at
fly off
all.
again. every 90 seconds that happens. And while
War
that's
Machine
going
as a
on,
tank
War
would be
Machine
great,
then gets a 2x damage increase when synced up with Iron Man. So imagine both of them just landing down. He's got those two wrist dual like machine guns doing 2x damage.
War
while
Machine
Iron
would
Man's
also
spinning in a
have
circle
a
360
team
with
up with
lasers.
Rocket.
That's a pretty cool team up in my opinion. And I'm not going to do character descriptions for these, and I have 5 for each other category, but just characters that I thought I'd mention on who I'd eventually want to do. So if I do a part 2 to this video and you guys like this, let me know, because the next 5 on this list that I'm not going to do descriptions for but would love to see eventually are the Lizard, Rhino, Crimson Dynamo, Sabretooth, and Luke Cage. Those would all be great heroes to add as tanks eventually.
We should get
Moving on now
Ironheart.
to DPS, I've
What
seen
would
a lot of people
Ironheart
say they
be?
want Cyclops and Nightcrawler, so obviously I'm not going to make a video about them, but thought I'd mention them. First up on my list, though,
Wait,
is
actually?
Nova, and yes, he's going to be a flying DPS. His main
Okay,
attack is going to be a
she
stun
does have
where he just
magic
shoots
in
orbs
her
at people.
suit.
Nothing too crazy, kind of like Iron Man.
So,
where you shoot pulsars. It's going to be like that.
she
For
could-
his tactical
she
note,
could
it would come
be
with
a
a speed
DPS
increase along with the damage
or
output
support.
increase as well. Once you're
Low-key.
blasting orbs and you hit 2 enemies, you then tag them. Once you tag 2 enemies, they are then able to both take damage as long as one of them is stunned in
I
place.
wish we
Once you're
could get
stunned in
Nova.
place, you're unable to move for about 1.5 seconds.
sick,
They can still fire and do damage, but think of them being tagged and like stun locked for a second and a half. Any damage these 2 tagged enemies that are stun locked doing though is double multiplied to Nova. So the idea with this is that you fly in with your speed boost, you do tactical damage to these stun locked enemies, and you get out of there. If you kill them, cool. If you don't, hopefully your teammates pick them off, because if you don't kill them and you're still standing in the area trying to get picks on them, they're both stationary turrets that are doing basically a double
Nova
damage
would-
output right at you.
would be
So
too
you're
sick.
absorbing that
Okay,
double damage
Ironheart
for
and Nova?
incoming damage as well. So you got to get in and get out with Nova. For his
Nova
ultimate,
would
I have
definitely be
Supernova.
DPS.
Once his ultimate is activated, his primary fire damage is increased 3 times, as well as his speed boost being a 3x increase as well. You fly by the enemies, giving them a blurb with your blue aura that you're flying with, because you're Nova. It's going to blur the enemy's vision, but also you're shooting 3x damage as well. Once you fly by, think of this, you're like flying by super fast, you're blurring their vision, but you're also just shooting left and right as Nova. It would be set up in a strip run, kind of like War Machine,
So,
or Target
here-
Run. You're flying by super fast.
The idea
blurring
for
vision,
his
and doing a
ultimate
3x
is basically
damage
like
output. I think that's
Star
pretty
Lord,
insane.
but you
Second on this
literally
list
have
for
to
DPS,
aim
I have a cloak
instead of
Dagger-esque
just.
duo, that being Ant-Man and the Wasp, or should I say Giant Man and the Wasp. This duo is going to have different character models. So for
Ant-Man
the
and
Wasp,
the
she's
Wasp.
actually going to be a smaller character model than most characters, because she's going to constantly be small. And when you switch to Ant-Man, you're going to only be in Giant Man form. And when you're in Giant Man form, you're going to be really sluggish and can't move that fast, but you're going to be like a duo tank hybrid, kind of like Mr. Fantastic. The primary blast for both characters would be Sonic Wrist
I feel
Blast,
like
but mainly
Ant-Man
that's
and
gonna be
Wasp
used as the
should
Wasp.
be
Once
two
you're in
separate
Giant Man, you
characters.
can hold corners
Like
and
Wasp as
sit
a
and plant on
healer
OBJ, and you
Ant-Man
have a
as a
300
tank.
damage overshield, but you can't really do a whole lot of damage.
She's
It's more of just
support,
like flying
but
as a
is
Wasp,
tank-like.
shoot some picks,
Yeah,
sit as the Giant Man,
like
Hulk
magic
smash them
bubbles,
essentially,
that
and
could-
then fly
that
back
could
in
work.
as the Wasp and get out of there. Their ultimate is it's ant time. This would be a swarm of either ants or wasps. For the wasps, you would get a swarm of wasps that would fly in and just ground any heroes or villains that are in the air. Think of your Star-Lords, your Iron Mans, your annoying Storms. The wasps would come in, do damage, and ground them. It wouldn't kill them and get them on like a little bit of health left, maybe like a quarter health left, but you're going to ground these flight heroes so then you and your team can pick them off and kill them. Or you can throw in a swarm of ants. Think of the Squirrel Stampede that Squirrel does, but with ants. The only difference with this is that they're actually going to crawl on the face of the heroes and villains that you're attacking on the enemy team, and you're going to blur their vision as well as do damage to them. I'd like to think of like the ants going in their eyes and stuff, like from Indiana Jones. That's disgusting. But think of Mario Kart where the squid like shot the ink on your face. It's going to be like that, so like you can still see a little bit, but you're going to be getting damage and you can barely see as well. It's one of those ults that when paired with another ult would just absolutely murder anyone in its path. Third on this list, I have Reptilian, which if you're an OG Superhero Squad fan, you know who this guy is. He's basically Beast Boy for Marvel, but can only transform into dinosaurs. I think it'd be really cool to see as a DPS. His primary fire would just be Velociraptor claws, and think of them like Iron Fist.
Honestly, Ant-Man and Wasp could be
His attack would be a
supports.
ranged attack with his neck going into a
But I
Of
think
course,
Ant-Man
things
should
like
be
Mr.
more
Fantastic, he can hit
more
you
of a
from about
tank
15
support,
meters away, but
and
nothing too far.
Wasp,
So he has the
she's
ability
more
to
like
be in your face, but
DPS
also
support
ranged attacks
for
as
sure.
well. For his passive, he's gonna lay down dino eggs every 90 seconds, and only he
Reptile
can
could
respond.
also
So
be
it's
a
like the
tank,
Rocket Raccoon
low-key.
passive, where you can put down the little respawn, except it's just a dinosaur egg for himself. His ultimate would then be just him screaming and roaring as a T-Rex, and you would then turn into a huge T-Rex, go on a rampage, damaging everything and anyone in your path, and then you also have the option to pick up one character, put them in your mouth as a T-Rex, and eat them, instantly killing them. Preferably this would be used with a tank. You just pick up the Doctor Strange that you can't kill, put him in your mouth, kill him, and then your team takes them. Moving on to Quicksilver, he's the fourth one on my DPS list. His passive, like Luna Snow, gives him a 1.5 speed boost increase. His tactical is going to be Octane from Apex Legends, where he just stims and runs faster. His tactical just makes him run even more faster. Nothing too crazy for a damage output though. His primary damage output, that being said, if he runs up close to you, kind of like how I just said with Reptilian Guy, he can claw and scratch you. If you run up close to someone with Quicksilver, you can just like push them like the Flash does in that terrible Flash movie, or you can have a ranged attack, kind of like Aang from Avatar the Airbender. Let's just pretend Quicksilver can airbend, where he like stirs up some air and can push you off.
I want to see Ant-Man as a support that can use Pim Particle ults like an Ana boost. Ooh, that'd be cool.
Force push you away with air,
Like
essentially, and then get out of it.
making your teammates
Ultimate, I have
giants
Sweet
could be
Dreams are
cool.
made of this, like from the X-Men clip, where he makes everyone around him on the enemy team in the area of effect move half as slow as they normally do, while also giving him a 3x speed boost. Nothing too crazy, but fast enough for him to run around and stun the enemy team where they're slow, and then also run in and get picks with his fists. The idea with this is that you would allow him to run really fast, get his picks in, and then run out of the area of effect, get out of the objective. The downside to this is that if you have a Hawkeye or an Iron Man or any sort of ranged person on the enemy team, you can still kill him. He's not invincible like Luna Snow, but he's running super fast where it's hard to hit him. But if you got a good Hawkeye or a good ranged attack, or if you're Spider-Man and can yank him off the map, you're still going to kill him. But the idea with this ult is that you run in really fast, stun the enemy team for your team to then kill them, and you're also hitting really quick picks as well with Quicksilver. Lastly, on my DPS list, every sort of hero shooter, in my opinion, needs that one guy that can shut down all abilities or copy abilities. If you're familiar with Apex Legends, Revenant, before he got changed, his ability is that he would cancel your ability. Or in Black Ops 3, there was a guy, I believe his name was Blackjack, where his ultimate was that he stole other people's ultimates. And that's what we're doing with Taskmaster here. And you might say, wait, Cody, Loki does that as well. He steals the ultimates. Yes, but we're going to be stealing tacticals and passives. Just bear with me here. His primary fire, he has two dual Uzis that it has ranged far
That
off,
cringe
but if he's in
superhero
your face,
group
kinda like
Marvel
Star-Lord,
made?
he's going to be melting you with these
Oh,
dual
God.
Uzis. His first tactical
Wait,
is
which-
gonna be stealing
which
from
one?
Hawkeye.
Which
It's
one?
going to be an explosive bow and arrow for ranged attacks and a quick finish on those enemies that you popped off with your Uzis that might have flown away. That's his one tactic.
Are you talking about the
His
Thunderbolts,
passive is
or
he's going to get a shield like a Captain America
Which-
shield that has 300 HP, and it's going to be able to block damage and reflect damage as well. He also has a sword for a melee that has increased melee damage compared to normal people's melee damage. Both of those are his passives. His ultimate, it gets complicated, but I have it titled,
Taskmaster
Watch
would
Me
be
Copy
cool.
This. Taskmaster can steal
Safe
any two
Space and
characters' passives
Snowflake.
or any two characters' tactical abilities
That's-
to allow for
oh,
max
wait, that sounds
mobility and max
familiar.
damage output.
Richard Carnell's wife is involved, but they can't prove anything.
And so we came up with the idea of planting a listening device at the gravesite so that if she did say something incriminating, that we would possibly be able to capture that and use it against her. After we planted the device, a groundskeeper for the cemetery came by
No.
and picked it up and threw it into the dumpster. Long story short, we weren't able to get anything
Safe
incriminating.
Space and
With only
Snowflake?
circumstantial evidence suggesting her involvement, the case against Suzanne is non-existent. But police are far from finished.
So we received a tip from an anonymous male who said Suzanne's computer contained information that would prove that she was not
No,
the grieving widow that she was portraying herself to be.
They get if okay, these new warriors. I remember it was like what was the green guy? It was like screen time.
When we analyzed it,
Yeah, I
it
think
was
it was
back to
screen
factory
time,
settings.
snowflake,
Wiping the computer
safe
is
space.
highly
There was like a
suspicious.
vampire,
And if
vampire
no
guy,
evidence was destroyed,
B negative,
also highly illegal.
and
Fortunately,
who was the
detectives
overweight
aren't out
fat
of
one?
options just yet.
Blazer,
John
Trail,
Ray had a computer ready to place a
Trail,
business. There's a
Trail,
security guard tunnel
I call it
in a
Trail,
little shack
Trailblazer.
in North Las Vegas.
They are not
So
goats.
Metro
I,
took the
oh
computer,
my god,
took it back
I
for
want to
analysis.
punch you. They don't.
We
No.
found
I don't want
emails
these characters in
between
here, by
John
the way.
Ray
Like, we
and
don't need
his
them.
sister, Suzanne Carnell.
We really
At first
don't need
glance,
these characters.
the emails appear to be ordinary communication between
God, no.
siblings.
Okay,
The
let me
emails
see what they.
were
What are their
found
powers exactly?
A bookshelf that Suzanne supposedly
Man,
wanted
they
John
look
Ray's
trash.
grave for, and she told him that she was willing to pay him $50 to do it.
Like, I'd
but that
rather
she
them
wanted
put
it
in
done right away.
Firestar.
I mean, it doesn't make any sense. Why
Like,
would
they
you
could put
be so
Firestar.
intent on a bookcase being built
Man,
that if you don't do it, I'll get someone else
I mean,
who
granted,
will.
we already got Human Torch, but still.
We felt
Rather
that
anybody
was
but these
code that
trash
she was
heroes.
using to express
A meme
to
obsessed super
John
team.
that she wanted him to commit this murder
Now
for
we can
hire.
see augmented
She was
realities
willing
and
to pay
real-time
him
maps
50,
can instantly
which
Google
we
any
believe was
fact.
$50,000 from the insurance money.
Okay.
And it was nice of her to sign it.
Safe space and
She's
Snowflake.
reminding
I'm
him
guessing
that
she
there's a
has
loyalty
like
there
ice
between the two
powers.
of them.
I'm forgetting.
I'm your sister. I
Your
was
psychic,
so happy. I was ecstatic, really.
Cryokinetic
because it confirmed
can
her
materialize
basically hiring
snowflake
her
shaped
brother
shurikens.
to commit this murder.
Can materialize
It came
pink
from her
force
email account.
force fields.
She signed it with her name.
So,
It was great.
bro, they look so trash, bro. Like, here's the thing.
Investigators believe that
Snowflake
in the early
and
morning
Safe
of January
Space,
30th,
they sound
Suzanne
cool,
Carnell,
but
no
they need a
evidence
better
were found
design. Like,
to
yo,
his death.
She convinced her
Yo,
brother
look
to
at-
wait outside in the dark for Richard to come out and go to work at 4:12 in the morning.
they look.
She knew
Maybe.
that John was going to get the drop on Richard when he went to his car.
Oh my god.
But John Brian Ray doesn't kill
Like,
Richard
they
right
look so
away.
trash.
He holds him hostage all day long.
She literally wasn't.
I don't know why he kept him basically
they go
captive
after her.
in
Okay, what is this?
the car
B
for
negative.
such a long period of time. But maybe he was just waiting for darkness.
Look at him.
John wrapped plastic and duct tape around Richard's head.
Okay.
He died from
Oh nah, he trash. Morbius's blood as a child in a rogue but life-saving medical procedure. So he's got Morbius's blood.
How can you do that to someone you hate, let alone
No,
someone
I
you
would not.
supposedly love?
I'm not putting that on.
Being upset that Richard was gay.
No,
I'm by that
bro.
for a minute. I think John Brian Ray
Hell
did
no.
money for drugs.
Trailblazer. Oh my god. What are your
On October
powers?
24th,
Magic
2002,
backpack is a pocket
Suzanne
dimension
Carnell
with
is
infinite
arrested for the
space.
murder of her husband, Richard.
I just remember.
Wait, so she's not a superhero.
Taking her away.
She doesn't have any superpowers. She just has a backpack with limitless space.
I so bad wanted to chase her down and just smile and wave.
See, I hate this because, like, Snowflake and Safe Space could easily be two cool
Prosecutors seek
characters.
the death penalty for both
Like,
John
both of them
Ray
could be
and Suzanne
cool.
Carnell. The key to proving
But,
premeditation
man,
is Suzanne's
the
attendance
outfit
at Dr.
just...
Moody's class.
The outfit works for the female. It
The whole
does not
situation
work on the male.
By practicing
It does not.
breathing, taking a class on
Like,
near-death
give him pants.
experiences.
Please.
She was doing a dry run.
And
Now
also
she can
different
act as a
hairstyles,
mother.
please. 'Cause
How stupid.
Don't look.
I mean, she should have gone to an acting
Really don't.
coach if she wants to know how to act like she's grieving. I mean, I'm a
Wait.
psychiatrist and I can't teach acting.
Oh my god.
You may find her odd. You may find her
Someone made them in Marvel Rivals.
find her vulgar. You may find her to be the biggest liar in town.
Suzanne Carno and John Brian Reed.
How did you make them cool?
In January of 2004.
When you go through a murder trial like this, there is a feeling in the pit of your stomach like, oh my god, she could get away with this.
Oh, okay. So they're like a tank version of Cloak and Dagger. Wait, I kind of rock with that.
Actions of his loving wife, Susan Carno, who used her brother.
Oh my god.
John
Her design looks so much better.
this horrific killing.
Her design looks so much better. Let me see his design.
Brian Ray, along with James Walsh, killed Richard.
That's so much better than that. Oh my god,
John Ray's
bro.
lawyer does his best to paint Suzanne as the master.
That looks way better than whatever we got,
Is
bro.
the master puppeteer that she appears to be, then my client John Ray.
Yo, Safe Space would be a fire tank, like a tank whose ability is just like
Throughout the whole thing.
barriers.
His emotions
Yeah.
Through the trial, he barely.
Okay, they actually
showed any
look
emotion.
sick though.
All the evidence solidified.
See,
what
if they look
we
somewhat
all
like
believe,
this,
that
I'm okay
she's
with that.
evil, and she hired and manipulated her brother to the point where he was willing to commit murder for her of her husband.
State versus Suzanne Carl. Count number one, guilty of conspiracy.
Nearly 2
Okay,
years after
yeah.
Richard Carno
Yeah,
was
th-
found dead
this-
in his car, the jury finds
this-
Suzanne and John guilty.
They
on all
1000%
counts.
look better.
They are sentenced to life
And it's
in
not
prison
it's
and
not
won't be
even
eligible for
like
parole
a competition.
until
It's not a
2034.
competition.
For Richard's family, the victory.
They
is
actually
bittersweet.
look cool. They look so cool.
But this
See,
is not Suzanne
this
Carno.
is the version I would main. I would not main whatever the heck.
When my grandson Nick confessed to me,
I would not main this, bro.
Suzanne was
I
really
would
doing
not.
to him at home.
It's gotta be this.
Nick describes years of emotional, physical,
Safe
and
space
sexual abuse.
cosplay? No,
She
I'm not
would
doing
choke
that.
me.
I'm
Until-
not
to the
doing
point
that,
of
bro.
passing out.
I'm not doing that.
I wanted to tell my dad.
Let me cosplay a
Suzanne was
different
gonna be,
black character.
But she threatened to kill me the very first
Nah,
time
they gotta
she
update
started
their
doing this
outfits.
to me.
And you know what? Update the rest of their team. High key. Great. Now I'm thinking about like, okay, so
Wish
if you
she would
switch
go
to
hell
him,
and stay there for the rest of her
he's gonna be able to put barriers on his team. He's gonna be able to project a barrier. He'll be able to shoot barriers out.
Years in prison.
His ultimate could literally be like,
Huge loss for our family.
it could be like
I miss his laughter.
doing a spirit bomb barrier and sending it on the enemy.
Calling him on his birthday.
Either that or
I miss spending time with him. I grieved the man that he could never.
either that or he could jump up, summon like a bunch of barriers around him, and just slam down like he's a
There's a
cannonball.
lot of things about my
And
dad.
then with her,
His big nose.
it's like, okay, her whole thing is creating
Doing where
snowflake shurikens.
things,
So it's like, okay,
just having fun, listening to jazz.
she could have one where she could place down on the floor and it could be like a shield, or no, she could project a like giant snowflake that is a shield and it like spins around.
And I always say, watch out, Rich, you're gonna break
She
them,
could
you're
have
gonna break
like
bones."
maybe two that she summons on both hands, throws them at an enemy,
I miss
freezes
that
them.
the most.
she could be more of the mobility, and he could be more of the like consistent defense, and he could give shields to his allies. Thinking, what could be her ultimate? She could summon like a giant.
Darkest secrets brought to light.
Oh, you know Mars's ultimate. You know Mars's ultimate from Black Clover Quartet Knights. You know how Mars summons that giant sword? Yeah, you know how Mars summons that giant sword? Maybe she could summon like a giant snowflake that moves around by itself? Similar to Mars's sword. You're not convert. It's not you that's converting me. It's this outfit. Like this should be the characters we get. And you know what? I'm adding this version of the characters because that could literally you could make a fire character from this.
On Sunday, March 15th,
You know what? Now I'm curious.
police in the Cleveland suburb
Let me
of
see what they
Northfield,
got for
Ohio,
them.
are called to the scene where the body of an unidentified female has been found.
The body was partially clothed and laying face down on the side of the road. She had a top on that was pulled up above.
No. Do not say I like the default. Nah. It's gotta be this version. It's gotta be this version. This is the only version I'm talking about. I'm not talking about this base one. Also, I look up them, and this is the first video I see. You know I gotta watch this. Because how trash are
I
they?
should not have to be making this video, but wow, Marvel really messed up. And if you're not a subscriber to my channel, let me tell you right now that this is definitely not my normal type of content. I do not make reactionary stuff. And also, if you're worried that you clicked onto an anti-SJW, anti-diversity page, no. I think when it comes to dedicated comic book YouTubers, I'm one of the few people with at least a decent subscriber base that is pretty well known to be pro-diversity, but I cannot defend this one, like, at all. So if you don't know, there is a new book coming out called The New Warriors, which is a team that I'm a big fan of, and they're going to be taking part in the Outlawed event, which I'm actually interested in seeing where it goes. You see, because of a big, well, it's not really a mishandling, just there's a lot of collateral damage happening with the Champions, who is the premier team of young characters. There is now a new law being passed in the United States in the Marvel Comics universe that young heroes can't really be a thing anymore because they're inexperienced. So now there's, you know, a big problem. You know, young characters, they still want to be heroes, the adults don't want them to be, but the new warriors, who were very much the young team from way back in the day, are now grown up, and instead of being the rebels, they are now the authority, and they are training a new group of new warriors. And wow, the new team is like peak cringe. This is some of the worst stuff that I have ever seen from Marvel. And listen, I defend a lot of what Marvel does, because frankly, I don't think it's really that bad, or at the very least not as bad as a lot of the reactionaries tend to think. But I will admit, Marvel is not immune to some really bad writing, some really cringy writing too. Definitely want to say the America book, America Chavez, loved the character, did not like the most recent book. And I do like the concept of Outlawed. I like the concept of the new warriors being the authority figures. I do not like these new characters. And specifically, there are two characters that are the worst. They are Safe Space and Snowflake. The names alone, wow. But, so Safe Space is the more bro-y, jockey character, going with like a nice pink aesthetic. I'm fine with that, nothing wrong with it. He has the power to make force fields only whenever he's protecting somebody. And his twin sibling is Snowflake, co-opting the term that has gotten pretty toxic over the years, and they are non-binary. Totally fine with that. I get a lot of shit on Twitter for having my pronouns listed. And listen, I understand that I am a straight, cis white man. I'm probably not the best person to be explaining this, but wow, this does not seem like representation done right. And when I tweeted about this, I don't seem to be the only person. And some of the people that are the most angry.
Dark, you want me to join you on Rivals? We could play Rivals.
Pasta is the way to my heart, so I'm sure this is not going
Oh
to
my
disappoint.
god. Nah, this guy's right. Safe Space kind of. Safe Space and Snowflake are written trash. Like, this is bad type of trash.
Well, we have our fifth course, which is the butternut squash.
Thank you so much. Butternut squash always reminds me of my childhood.
Yeah, Dark, do you want me to... I can hop on Rivals, we could play.
I can put feta on absolutely everything.
Angry are non-binary folk. The character designs of these characters, the names of these characters, they do not seem like they're here in earnest. They don't seem like these are a push for nice, genuine diversity, which I am all for. I think it's high time that we got some legitimate non-binary representation in comic books. But this does not seem like this is gonna be it. This seems like these characters would fit right at home inside of like some super bigoted parody book, like some of the stuff that we've frankly seen in the comic community over the past few years. These characters are just complete, can I get a yikes? They are complete fucking yikes. I don't like this at all. And I am definitely a firm believer that you can't really judge the quality of a book or the quality of writing until you've actually consumed it. I have not read these books yet. They have not come out. I am going to give them a fair shake because who knows, maybe they could be good. I'm a firm believer that there's no such thing as a bad character, only bad writers. Even terrible, terrible characters with just awful ideas behind them can turn into something very interesting if there's good quality writing behind it. Maybe it's like lampooning or being a high quality satire of certain things. I really don't feel like this is going to be the case. I very much hope that I'm wrong. The last thing I want is for this to be representation. This is exactly the kind of ammunition that the anti-SJWs are looking for. This is some really awful stuff. When they talk about...
Yo, Bull, I just found out that this guy, this dude, literally fixed all of their outfits. Nah, look, Bull. Look at B negative. This one is the original. The one on the other side is the Marvel Rival version. Bro, this is so much better. What? Nah, this guy cooks. Look at this.
What kind of home would you buy if money was no object?
This looks so much better.
On top of the treehouse, isn't this magnificent? Hello. Hi, Bougie. Dream big with My Lottery Dream Home. Saturday starting at 7 on DFC. Nice.
Domino's Best Deal Ever is back. Get any hand-tossed pan thin crust.
Even Trailblazer looks good.
Toppings for just $9.99 online. Your favorite pizza at our best price. It's Domino's Best Deal Ever, but it's not forever, so get it before it's gone. Only at Domino's.
About forced diversity being shoved down their throats and, oh, look at this, this is LGBT propaganda. This is what it looks like. The characters that they come up with whenever they're doing their sketches and just throwing shit on Twitter, these are the kind of characters they look like. And the names, I get that they're trying to take back the names. They're trying to take back these negative labels and use them for a source of positivity. It just does, this ain't it. Not to mention that I think I heard somewhere, do not quote me on this because I'm not a pure expert, but I heard that snowflake was a derogatory term for black people that are trying to act white. I think that somebody said this is from the 70s. Again, that could not be true. I could just be talking out of my ass, But if that is true, that definitely seems like something that you probably should have looked into before co-opting this. And look, there is plenty more that I don't like about the New Warriors. I could talk about Screen Time, who got his powers from internet gas, and he is just like the freakazoid character, the internet kid been taken to its logical extreme. This book, maybe it's gonna be brilliant, maybe it's just not for me. I am going to give it a fair shake, but this does not seem like the right way to include diversity. This is exactly the kind of laughingstock that people think Marvel is. And if this is the route that it's going to go down, well, yeah, that's earned. I have defended a lot of crap to Marvel over the years, and I don't want to make a video where I rant in front of my fucking camera. I usually sit on a goddamn throne, and I do just very well researched, at least in my opinion, comic book history videos, trying to make this medium more accessible, because the comic industry sure as hell isn't doing it. This is the kind of crappy video that you see from these reactionaries, where they just sit and talk. I don't have a lot of visuals to show. I don't have a lot of editing I can really do, because there's not material for me to work with yet. Again, I hope that I'm wrong. I hope that this ends up being actually really charming. But like I said, Marvel is not immune to bad writing, and we have seen it peek into their books on occasion. This looks like it's going to be it. And the last thing that I want as a Marvel fan is to see a company and a universe that I love become a laughingstock. And if this is the future, it's probably going to be. Like I said, not my normal type of content. I normally don't just sit here and do some low quality rants with a few edits. If you're interested in seeing what I do, if you're interested in looking at my, my pro-diversity content, maybe subscribe. Take a look at some other videos while you're here. That's really all I have to say. I'm just mad, and frankly, I'm even more disappointed.
Alright, well, y'all, I'm gonna take a little break. So, for now, thank you all. Hope you all have a good rest of your day or night, whatever time zone. I will see you all another day, or another time. I'm gonna be back later, but peace out for now.